Boom. We are we are live. What is happening? What is happening? I feel like we should get some music going in the meantime just till some people start showing up, right?
Do
Just
it, man.
chill. All right, brother.
Hit up the slow burn.
So let's go like this. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Slow burn. Super stoked. Gonna post the link so people can start calling in about 20 minutes or so, right?
All right.
Seems about right. Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, let's see where are we at here. Haha. What's up? We have one person in the house. Two people in the house. Hello.
The
Oh,
other one's me.
nice. No Raven today. We're gonna do a live with Raven on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday live with the Raven. He's bringing a special guest too, and we're going to be talking about the moon.
Uh-oh. Love that.
Yeah.
I am stoked today to share this beautiful Sunday with everybody and dive a bit deeper into these topics that we have ready for people. I mean, I almost got into a rabbit hole I wasn't prepared for. I thought, okay, there's 40 minutes. Let me try to dig up this stuff on. So my buddy he's a hide tanner. He tans buffalo hides, lives in New Mexico, and he's also a skilled craftsman. And he makes obsidian blades, arrowheads. He flint knaps like OG, like he's one of the best. And he went to Denver, Colorado for this gem and mineral show. And he's good enough at what he does that people hit him up to give him rocks, basically. And so he got an entire truck bed load of Elizabethan petrified wood. And I was like, Elizabethan petrified. I was like, what is that? What is that? What is Elizabethan petrified wood? And he's like, well, it comes from Elizabeth, Colorado. That's where it was founded. I was like, Elizabeth, Colorado? I was like, that sounds interesting. I was like, don't you find that rather synchronistic that you got gifted a truckload of petrified wood, Elizabethan petrified wood, on the day, basically, this is a few days ago, on the day of the Queen's passing, Queen Elizabeth? And he's like, yeah, actually, it is kind of synchronistic. I'm like, yes, dude, that's very synchronistic. And so, with the Esoteric America stuff, I was just like, okay, I got to dig into this town of Elizabeth, Colorado. And in fact, there was some stuff, but like I said, I wasn't prepared enough to really bring it here today. Yo, what's happening, Logan? Boom, boom. But what I was able to find out, and this is interesting, is that Elizabeth, Colorado was a mining town, right? So they had they had a huge lumber rush, and that was mainly the main industry in Elizabeth, Colorado. But it makes sense that you would have a bunch of petrified wood right there because it also had a gold rush in history. In the early 1900s, there was a huge gold rush in Elizabeth, Colorado, and people started flocking there. And then, of course, just almost suspiciously, this gold mine town that people start flocking to. And you'll start to see this when you start looking up gold rush towns. The gold rush town, what happened? Oh, it had a huge flood and huge fires. Only a few years after having struck the gold, right? So I thought that was kind of interesting. And thinking about the mineral composites and constituents of petrified wood, of course, you're going to find petrified wood in places where there's more like mineral composite in the land, because a tree can fall. Okay. A tree can fall, but a lot of times it's going to turn into duff. It's going to turn into dirt. It's going to compost. But if the mineral composites in the land are exactly perfect, brother, what happens? Crystals, crystallization. It turns the tree to a rock, and completely the minerals take over the cells of the tree, and it's so beautiful. And so I love petrified wood. Wood itself is beautiful, but for a wood to transmute itself into a perfect crystalline structure, now talk about the hero's journey, brother. Right there, man.
I thought petrified wood was when you saw a hot homeless chick and you're like, oh, you're like scared but stiff at the same time.
That's every erection I've ever had. The more homeless women are, I'm like, yes.
Woo!
Work them streets, baby.
Going,
you already know I'm about it. So I thought maybe we could start. So this is our first slow burn. Thank you so much, people, for showing up, joining. We're going to post the link to StreamYard if you guys want to hop on and share any of your screen stuff. But first, I want Dan and I to do our first share. So Dan, do you want to share what you have today, and we'll go in on that, and then before we post a link for people to jump in?
Sure, man. Do you want to hear about ancient Egyptian pharaohs that had a shepherd of the royal anus? Or do you want to hear about King Tut using condoms made from oil-soaked linen?
Condoms. That one.
All right. Well, then here we go.
Dan, you're such a dirty man, by the way. You dirty old man. Look at you out here. Those two things are anus and condom. Sweet Lord.
I'm trying to go for weird stories that have to do with like ancient stuff, because we don't really get into too much of the weird stuff. So I thought it'd be fun, since we're just doing little articles, to read about weird stuff that happened in history, that's like not in the norm. Or maybe it's more normal than we believe.
Yeah.
So when King Tut's tomb was first discovered in 1922. Oh, sure. How do I do that?
You go down here to the little share thing, click it.
Where's that little share thing at?
Are you on full screen?
I am now. Share. Gotcha.
There we go.
Share screen.
Don't worry, everybody. This is like when you get your parents a cell phone and you have to kind of walk them through. You have to get them the extra big remote with the extra big buttons on it. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure. Oh, here we go.
I feel like we should have a live audience so then everyone can laugh at my hilarious jokes. Instead, it's I'm just kidding.
Is it sharing?
Yes, here we go.
I don't see it.
Whoa. There you go. Click on your tab.
So
there.
Is it showed now?
Yeah, it's good to go. Click on the tab that you want to. There it is.
Click on the tab that I want. This one?
Mm-hmm. The one that you're going to read
showing
from.
Now?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it showing?
Yes, Dan, it's fucking showing.
Okay. You see I'm on Ancient Origins.
Here we go.
I can't look at both screens at the same time, so I can't tell what's going on here.
Just read the article.
Oh, here we go. What the fuck is going on, dude?
Sweet Lord. Okay, stop screen. Just read the article. You're going to give someone epilepsy.
That's what I was thinking, too. Here we go. When Tutankhamun's tomb was first discovered in 1922, archaeologists at the Howard Center was stunned by astonishing array of grave goods. More than 5,000 artifacts were left for the boy king to use in his afterlife. But amongst the gold, silver, ebony, and ivory, precious jewelry, weapons, furniture, fine linen, and rare perfumes, a small piece of cloth caught the eyes of the expert. It was King Tut's condom, and apparently it was deemed essential for him to take into eternity. King Tut's condom was contained traces of his DNA, consisted of a sheath made of fine linen soaked in olive
Wow.
oil and attached to a string that would have tied around his waist. Dated to 1350 BC, it is the oldest known condom in existence. If the condom was used for contraceptive rather than ritual purpose or the prevention of disease, it is unlikely to have been very effective. Indeed, the remains of the two fetuses were also found in his tomb, and genetic testing revealed King Tut was the father. The ancient Egyptians had other methods of contraception too. The Kahun medical papyrus, known also as the gynecological papyrus, which has been dated to around 1825 BC, recommends the use of a mixture of crocodile dung and some other, now unknown, ingredients as a contraceptive. This mixture would have been formed into a pessary. According to one hypothesis, the dung of the crocodiles is alkaline in nature, thus acting as a spermicide.
Wow.
Interesting, huh? The
So
Egyptians may have been among the first civilizations to use condoms. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's a lot of like this lore of ancient baths in ancient Egypt, and that the
Mm.
queens would bathe themselves in honey and milk.
Oh,
And
yes.
so I'm getting some visuals here with what you're talking about and some of these ancient baths, the royal jelly. If you know, anyways, please continue.
The royal jelly. Yeah. The Egyptians may have been the first among civilizations to use condoms, but others soon followed. In ancient Rome, condoms were made from linen and animal intestine or bladder. The ancient Chinese fashioned sheaths from silk paper soaked in oil. In Japan, they used tortoise shell or animal horn that was used to cover the glands only. The archaic Jukas tribe of New Guinea had a female condom made from a specific plant. Muslims and Jews during the Middle Ages covered their penis in tar or soaked it in onion juice. Ooh, fuck. I don't know about that
What?
shit. When the first well documented outbreak of the sexually transmitted disease syphilis occurred in the 15th century among French troops, the need for something to protect against disease became more essential, and linen sheaths soaked in the chemical solution were widely adopted. In addition to linen, some condoms during the Renaissance were made out of animal intestines or bladder. The condom was revolutionized in the early 19th century with the introduction of rubber. By 1850, several rubber companies began the mass production of condoms, and the rest is history.
Wow, isn't that the truth right there? The rest is history. The rest makes history. Well, actually, the rest erases history because
Yeah.
contraceptives don't they stop the production. So that's interesting, the timeline. Okay,
Hmm.
so I see Kaylee's comment on the onion juice, and I have to tell you guys a personal story. Since this is,
Oh, Jesus
Sunday
Christ.
Sunday slow burn, I have to tell you guys this story. I have to tell it. Okay, so I'm living back in Hawaii on the Big Island, hippie central. So many hippies, such a
Maui.
great,
So Maui
beautiful town.
onion juice, huh?
It was a Maui sweet onion. And so here's the deal. This is what happened. We were down at
Oh shit.
Kealakekua Bay at KA Beach, to be specific. If anyone on Big Island down in Kona knows KA. And we were camping on the rocks, and we get there, and it's me and my buddy and Megan Love. Megan Love is an amazing soul. She still lives there. She has an Airbnb. You guys should definitely stay at her Airbnb. She's awesome. And especially after this story, which is incredibly personal, but I'm telling it anyway. Go, she'll love it. She's that kind of woman that she can honor what she did here. So we get down here and it starts raining, right? So it starts, I'm talking like sprinkling, like a fog, right? Like a frog rolls in and your skin just kind of like supple. So she gets naked. She just pops the top. Next thing you know, just completely naked. And I was like, okay, all right. Hey, I'm not going to complain. Here we go. I mean, I like the rain. I can enjoy this. So we're fishing off the rocks, catch a fish, put it in a mason. I want to let everybody know also, you can cook soup in a mason jar and a fire. If you have a mason jar and it's full of liquid and things, the outside will only really get as hot as the internal temperature. So like it's not going to bust and erode. It would if it was empty. It would eventually shatter, but the liquid inside will actually help contain it from shattering. So you can cook directly in a fire with a jar and do that, or whatever type of vessel. And so, we put a half an onion in there. We put the chives, we put some cilantro, a little bit of mint, and we leave half of an onion on the side, because a whole onion, that's a lot. That's a lot of food. Next thing you know, we're all sitting down by the fire. And Megan goes, I'm telling the story of how Russians used to keep onions underneath their pillows and in their rooms for sicknesses and diseases. And she says, so onions can help get rid of diseases? It's like, yeah. She's like, huh. So what happens if I plop it up my whoop? And I said, well, I'm no doctor, but I don't know if that necessarily is exactly how it works. But basically, you guys know the rest of the story. She stuck a half an onion up the and I turned around and went to bed. I said, that's it for me, boys. I'm a freak, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I already had my stir fry for the night. I'm good with this. I'm out here, and so, she slept with the onion in her vagina all night.
Oh, man.
So
talk about onion breath.
Like just to follow up with the onion juice and the story there. That's amazing. So anyways,
so very interesting that they were even thinking about using contraceptive back in ancient times. I've also heard stories of the Irish had a certain plant that they actually were able to use for contraceptive, but has since been extinct, no longer exist, probably because they were using it so much as a contraceptive. And then once the church got in there and it wasn't a big thing anymore, it kind of went away because nobody was there to keep that going.
Okay. Yeah, thinking about, a reusable condom too, just like, how we used to use reusable diapers. You just wash it off in the healing waters and then it's good to go again.
So I think somebody asked if she had a yeast infection and grew some bread in there, like onion bread.
Oh, goodness. Focaccia? So, first of all, focaccia is an incredible bread. It is soaked in olive oil. I highly recommend people making focaccia at home to know how much olive oil is needed to make a true focaccia loaf. It might disturb you, but it might also make you very happy. So I'm going to talk about this Buddhist fasting ritual. I thought it was pretty interesting. And I think we can all, take some notes. So this is called Danjiki. It is an ascetic traditional fasting ritual in the Japanese Buddhism training. Here we present a case of a 48-year-old man who underwent a 1 week-long Daijiki fasting ritual in a remote Buddhist temple. The daily ritual consisted of waking up at 3:30 a.m., hiking strenuously into the steep mountains, and followed by meditations on the rocks. Focused calligraphy of religious drawings and documents, recital of Buddhist prayer chanting, and standing under waterfalls while reciting prayers. He was allowed to drink water and libitum and a cup of carrot juice a day. And after a week of the Danjiki, which is interesting because your name is Dan too. But the Danjiki ritual, his body weight decreased by 5 kilograms. Resting metabolic rate did not change. Fasting blood glucose did not change. But plasma triglyceride decreased by 35%. There were no changes in blood pressure. Arterial stiffness increased 15 to 25%, and endothelium-dependent vasodilation decreased by 5%. The results indicate that the Danjiki ritual produced significant weight loss, but unexpectedly reduced vascular functions. So let's go down to the methods. The subject was a 48-year-old male who was apparently healthy and recreationally active. He underwent a week of Danjiki ritual at a remote Buddhist temple in the mountains where no cell phone or internet connections were available. The dairy routine, which I think is a misspell, and they meant to say daily routine, consisted of waking up at 3:30 a.m., strenuous hiking into the steep mountains, followed by meditation on the big rocks for 2 hours. Calligraphy, the copying of religious drawings and documents for 1 hour. Household chores and various duties within the temple. Thorough cleaning of the temple, collection of sticks and woods for the fire to heat up the bathwater, and recital of Buddhist prayer chanting, and standing under waterfalls while reciting and shouting prayers for 1 hour, and hiking on the steep mountain to get to and back from the waterfalls, and going to bed before 9 p.m. He was allowed to drink water and libitum and a carrot juice a day. A cup of carrot juice. Every 3 days, a cup of miso soup was taken instead of carrot juice in order to replenish the sodium and other electrolytes. In order to evaluate the effects of the Danjiki ritual, the following measurements were performed before and after the intervention. The measurements were performed in a quiet laboratory, setting away from the remote temple. The subject was fasted and well hydrated, judged indirectly by the color of urine, which was clear prior to the measurements. Body fat percentage was assessed, and the bioelectrical impedance. Resting metabolic rate was measured by using a metabolic cart. Blood glucose, triglyceride, cholesterol concentrations were analyzed during the cholesterol glucose analyzer. The blood pressure, pulse wave velocity, the ankle brachial index were measured using vascular screening device. Measures of arterial compliance were determined via simultaneous application of carotid artery tonometry, Omron Healthcare, Kyoto, Japan, and ultrasound imaging of contralateral carotid artery. Flow-mediated dilation of index endothelium-dependent vasodilation was assessed using the ultrasound machine. What are these words? Let's get to the juice. Results. After a week of the Danjiki ritual, body mass was reduced by 5 kilograms without any change in the body fat percentage. Okay, so he got thinner without losing any weight. Resting metabolic rate did not change, but respiratory exchange ratio declined. Okay, so that means that the respiratory exchange ratio sounds like that the blood from his lungs were declined. Okay, the fasting blood glucose did not change, but plasma triglyceride decreased by 35%. There were no appreciable changes in blood pressure. Arterial stiffness, as estimated by carotid femoral P and PWV, increased by 15%. Stiffness index increased by 24%. Endothelium-dependent vasodilation, as assessed by normal FMD, decreased 5%. Lower frequency power of systolic blood pressure variability and index of sympathetic adrenic vasoconstrictor tone increased by 21%. Okay. Well, what that means is that the the mainstream science was not pleased at all with the satisfactory of fasting and the Danjiki fasting. But what I think it is maybe the physical body did not experience what mainstream science might find applicable, but maybe the spiritual body was thus growth enhanced. Maybe the magnetic, maybe something within his actual spirit was, you know, evolved. I thought it was a fun article, a lot of big science words, but you know, I think it's important for us to
You
fast.
love
That's
using
that's the
those big
point I'm getting
words.
at. Hey baby, hey, that's right. Uh, but yeah, what's your take on that, there, sir?
Uh, yeah, all those big words confuse me, man. I don't know.
They're just talking about different fluids in the blood. Really, that's mainly
Uh,
the main vibe with that. There's plasma inside the blood. So when we were kids, we used to go donate our plasma just so we could have enough money to buy weed. And they would highly suggest us not to be stoned when we came in, and of course we never would be.
right.
Yeah, that was anyways, so that's the fun stuff there. I'm posting the link into the Telegram for anybody that wants to click it and join. You're more than welcome. But other than that, let's keep
Excellent.
steamrolling on through. Dan, you got another article for us?
Yeah, to stay on like the same vein, you had brought up honey, and so here we go. Humans were mummified into honey candy in Arabian medical practice. Well, ancient history boasts a host of grisly medical recipes. One of the most intriguing and elaborate was the mellified man, a human being mummified into honey candy, which was then used to
Wow.
mend broken and wounded limbs. The practice is mentioned in Chinese medical sources, in particular in the definitive 16th century medical encyclopedia, Benkao Gangmu by Li Shin. The remedy was not a Chinese one, however. According to Li Shin, it was an ancient Arabic practice. Making a mellified man involved an elderly male volunteer, 70 to 80 years old, who agreed to sacrifice himself for the greater good. He gave up eating anything other than honey and bathed in it every day. After about a month, his insides and excretions had virtually turned into honey. Obviously, a diet consisting solely of honey would eventually prove fatal for reasons of oversaturation. And when that happened, the corpse medicine process began. In the next stage, the corpse was put into a honey filled coffin, which was then sealed and left undisturbed for a century. When the seal was broken open, the body had turned into a giant honey candied confection that was believed to have powerful healing properties.
What?
Honey does have a great antibacterial and antiseptic properties and was widely used in ancient medicine to treat skin disease and protect wounds from festering. This made it a great embalming fluid as well. Herodotus mentions its use for this purpose by the Assyrians. The body of Alexander the Great was supposedly submerged in honey while being transported for burial. What is not clear is exactly how candied human mummies were used to treat the injured limbs. So there you go.
Wow.
Honey for
That's
preservation.
it's incredibly fascinating. So, did they go over the process of how they would just eat a bunch of honey, or they would actually soak the body in a honey solution?
Yeah, so the person ate all the honey, just consumed honey, and bathed in honey daily, and then he would basically end up dying because his body couldn't handle all the honey that was in his body because it became too uh, I forget the word they used in there, but then they stuck him in a coffin made of honey and buried him for 100 years. and then you boom, crystallization, honeyed human being.
Wow, this is so cool. I mean, it kind of speaks to the power of these bees and speaks to the power of the honeycomb and the geodesic structure of that, in my opinion. Just the other night, Kaylee and I were chatting about the moon, and which everybody look out for that. We're going to have a new show called Moon Mysteries coming out. Going to post the first episode on the Patreon this week. So be looking out for that. It's going to be fun. But I shared the story of how I see a lot of the celestial markings in the sky, otherwise known as stars. And I see a lot of the structures be connected through like lighter dots that look a lot like geodesic structure to me. And so, I think like the fractalization of these shapes and the bees themselves that hold such an importance to us. So fascinating. I heard about now I'm curious if anybody in the chats has ever heard of this as well, but the bee therapy, like bee box therapy, huffing bee air. There's places where you can go and put a mask on and you can huff the air of the bee. Like sitting on a box that's buzzing, the bees are making that constant vibration. Sitting on it's like therapy. And so, maybe we are on the outside of a massive beehive, and the core of the planet is an actual honey ball, a molten honey ball that is the sweet nectar of the gods, the true ambrosia. And we're here because I have these visions too, man. Like, the plants are growing, everything grows from the ground up, right? And then other things fall down to the ground. While on top of those clouds, you have things that shoot up into the higher atmosphere as well. You have like the red and blue lightning that shoots up. But, what's pushing the plants up, the energies from within the planet that push it up, what's underneath that?
Hesperides.
Who's controlling those guys? Who's this? Hesperides?
Hesperides, yeah. That's what she does. She pushes the plants up from the underworld.
Who is this? Who is this beautiful woman?
Greek goddess.
I'd like to see a picture. Let's see here. Hesperides. Well, you were just talking about Japan, and that's funny because I also had some Japan stuff to pull up. So let's not get.
I think it was China, but
my bad.
But I will say though, in Bach Saga, they talk about the ringlands being set up almost like a honeycomb, and the raw bee was the sun bee, the pollinator of the different ringlands, and so there's a association to honeys and bees in the same in that context to the saga. So,
wow, I think I remember you telling me about that actually. That's crazy. I think there is something to it. You hear a lot about bees in modern times, but you don't hear about the importance of bees through the theologies. At least I haven't. I'm trying to stop generalizing my words by saying, we haven't and you haven't when I'm specifically talking about me, but I'm working on it. But there's
a lot of bee stuff in Egypt too. A lot of they have little bee figures.
Here we go. Yeah, the oldest thing of bees or honey at all that I knew was ancient Japan. Ancient Egypt, like you say, with the queen using the milk and the honey on her body. And when we talked to Rick Osman, then we found out about the Mesoamerican transporting their agriculture and honey to preserve it, like the herbs and the cacao. And so, I mean, I wonder what.
Well, honey is very important for preserving things and also used for making mead, right?
Yes. And
so
mushrooms,
psilocybin.
psilocybin.
You gotta have mead. Yeah, you gotta have got to have your hallucinogenics in the ancient times, man.
Yeah. I mean, just it helps stretch the veil out and helps you get to just have other perspectives. Because every day, for the most, I mean, every day is a different perspective. Every second, every breath. I'll say that. It's funny. It seems
Every
like
day I'm
perspective.
honeying.
Every day I'm honey. Yeah, boom, boom. But it seems like every breath is the moment. The timing is the breath because you can really alter your own uh, state of consciousness through breathing. And, you can slow down the time if you're breathing, it's moving faster. But I feel like each moment, we say the day, the hour, the minute, the second. But I think the real, ticking of the tick and the talk of the clock is the breathing, man. And we're in control of that, which means we're in control of time, which is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, man.
So I typed in
This is
moon to this book and was just because that's why I love PDF finders. I love finding old PDFs and then that have crazy titles, and then you just type in words and you're like, sweet, this is how I read books now. But I typed in moon to this old occult Japanese book, and this is the SERP that came up. So I'm going to read this one. Okay. Page 44 too, which is cool. So the moon, it seems, is the cause of it all, a first step in elucidation, to follow which requires less stretch of the Western imagination than the next succeeding one. For that lunacy-inducing body is, it appears, the origin of water. On the Lucas Anon principle, we must suppose, inasmuch as it has none to speak of, but whatever the cause, the spirit of water resides in the moon. The spirit of cold water, be it understood. Cold water and hot water being, in Japanese eyes, quite different substances with different names. The spirit of hot water is the spirit of fire. This rose to the water in the cauldron from the fire below at the moment the water boiled. Now, as the priest quaintly put it, just as there are veins in man's body and fissures in the earth, so are there arteries in the air, and each spirit its own arteries. When therefore the spirit of water is properly besought, it descends from its abode, the moon, by its appropriate paths, and dispossesses the spirit of fire, which sinks back again into the charcoal whence it came. And of course, the hot water is no longer hot. This happy result is worked to easier perfection amid the purity of the peaks. It is, of course, an irrelevant detail that water at those altitudes should boil at a lower temperature. The thin air of the peaks is for purely pious reasons, conducive to all manner and ether realization. Never heard that word before. I love it. Conducive
never
to
said it
all
before
manner
either,
of
huh?
ether realization. In addition to the lunar action on the boiling water, the performer himself, so the priest said, temporarily possessed by the lunar spirit, and so is rendered insensible to the heat, which, as we just saw, does not exist, so that the second action might seem to savor of the superfluous.
Yeah, superfluous.
Superfluous. I like how he ends his sentences with these words. I love it. A double a double negative of the sort appears, however, to make assurance doubly sure when the man returned clothed and in stance. And in his right hand once more he asked whether wait, did I no, okay. Whether befelt the heat of the water during the ordeal. He replied that sometimes he did and sometimes he did not. In this instance, he said that he had felt nothing. He was a frail looking youth of ecstatic eye, evidently a good subject, though still in the early stages of his novitiate. The head priest, a much stronger man and an adept, said that he always felt the water, but not the heat of it. An interesting distinction. Here came the importance of my dabble in the basin. Though it had been but to the extent of a little finger, and that by religious permission, it appeared, partially spoiled the miracle of that side on the cauldron, preventing the water, therefrom becoming as cold as elsewhere. For the acolyte averred that he had perceived a difference between the two, but he had just said that he had not felt the heat of any part of it. He had therefore detected a distinction without a difference, a degree of divinity quite transcending the simply not feeling at all. Yet he was unconscious at time, and a conscientious afterwards. By partially spoiling the miracle, then it would seem that I had considerably improved it. So that sounds like alchemy to me. Sounds like alchemy.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love ancient Japanese stories. They're beautiful, but that was from the tale of a Frenchman, if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
experiencing Japan, which is also a pretty cool way to go about it, instead of just calling anybody from the East Tartars. Ooh, which I haven't popped this book open in a while, but this is a big one. It's the Vinland map and the Tartar relation.
Ooh,
Double-sided.
excellent.
It's
Double
full of
sided.
maps. Yeah, it's got like the same cover on both sides. So, usually it's like,
Oh,
yeah, it's a mirror
yeah.
image, actually. Hmm? Mirror. What? Oh, so no one wants to join in? You know what? I'm not even upset. I thought maybe somebody would like to just hit the button, hit the link, and come in and pop up and say hello. But I'm absolutely content the way that it is. Also,
Please do ask questions, though. For us, for the show, for ideas, topics, if you want to talk about previous shows, whatever, ask questions,
oh,
jump on, say what's up, ask questions about those other shows. But since we're kind of talking about bodily stuff, uh, I have another article here for you. 16th century executioners sold human fat for medical ointments. That's right. In the 16th century Europe, anyone suffering from arthritis, bone pain, toothache, or gout could trot down to their local pharmacy and pick themselves up a bottle of Zuniga hominis, human fat. Known colloquially as poor sinner's fat, it was typically harvested from the bodies of executed prisoners. Since ancient times, human and animal fat has been of great interest to physicians for its possible curative properties, but efforts to utilize fat in the production of medicine really took off in the 16th and 17th centuries across Europe, particularly in France and Germany. For executioners, this meant big business. They would harvest the human fat from freshly executed criminals and sell it to physicians and apothecaries by the pound. Until the mid 18th century, executioners in Germany would even administer their own homemade human fat concoctions. Precious fatty tissue didn't come from executed prisoners, though. It was also harvested from fallen soldiers after a bloody battle in the siege of Ostend in 1601. Dutch surgeons swarmed the battlefield and set to work gathering as much fat as they could, which they then used in the treatment of their own soldiers' wounds.
wow.
Um,
That's. I was gonna ask, and I started looking up a little bit how they harvested it, but that says a lot right there. It's super interesting and has some smell of occultism to it. The harvesting of bodies and using of said bodily excrements. I mean, is fat an excrement at that point? Interesting. Is there
well,
more in this
I
article
don't
or what?
know. Yeah, there is. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
keep
there
going,
is.
keep going.
Uh, Human fat was used for treating a variety of ailments, typically in the form of an ointment that was rubbed on the skin or in fat soaked bandages. It was believed to be particularly effective at reducing scarring, healing wounds, reducing joint pain, and fostering the growth of nerves and tendons. The belief that human fat has healing properties was not entirely misguided. It is now known that fatty tissue can promote the growth of new blood vessels. In the early 1900s in Germany, human fat was still being used for wound disinfection and surgical treatment of scars. And until the 1960s, human fat from placentas was used in anti wrinkle creams. Ooh, magic word there, placentas. See the chats go off now. Eventually, the supply of human fat for use in medicine dwindled, and as did the desire to use cream made from dead bodies. Surprise, surprise.
Wow.
And that's it.
Okay, well let me share this one. I found this one while you were
But
going.
pretty interesting, though, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, incredibly interesting. Here, let's look at this one. It says soap made from human corpses. During the 20th century, there were various alleged instances of soap being made from human body fat. During World War I, the British press claimed that the Germans operated a corpse factory in which they made glycerin and soap from
Jeez.
the bodies of their own soldiers. Both during and after World War II, widely circulated rumors claimed that soap was being mass produced from the bodies of victims of Nazi concentration camps, which were located in German occupied Poland. Oh, my mom said we're part Polish. During the Nuremberg trials, items were presented as evidence of such production. The Yad Vashem Memorial has stated that the Nazis did not produce soap with fat which was extracted from Jewish corpses on an industrial scale, saying that the Nazis may have frightened camp inmates by deliberately circulating rumors in which they had claimed they were able to extract fat from human corpses and turn it into soap, mass produce, and distribute it. Which, with Dan just told us, that is a thing that can happen. So, anyways, in 1780, the former Holy Innocent Cemetery in Paris, the Holy Innocent Cemetery in Paris was closed because of overuse. In 1786, the bodies were exhumed and the
Kosher soap.
bones were moved to the catacombs. Many bodies had incompletely decomposed and reduced into deposits of fat during the exhumation. This fat was collected and subsequently turned into candles and soap. Okay, wow. Okay, I got to look up what exhumation is, okay?
Somebody posted that they now use beef fat and collagen for healing skin and joints. Collagen is a very effective way to heal joints and arthritis. There's like collagen pills and stuff that are supposed to help heal your mobility and whatnot. So, yeah,
Ooh, yeah, I like beeswax. Are we talking about beeswax or
I
bees
think
fat
they,
fat
I think
liquid?
they use, I think they used to use
Oh,
that for
beef
lip
fat.
implants
Oh, I
too,
see. Beef. Okay.
right? Collagen.
Mhm. One of the strangest fats that I had seen in a health food store down in LA was which I was just passing through, by the way, but obviously uh was camelback fat, was camel hump fat.
Camelback.
Yeah, like the hump apparently has a bunch of
Yeah,
excess
no, I
fat.
get. Yeah,
Yeah, and I was like, what? I like saw it on the shelf. Just I was like passing by. I like look. I was like, wait, hold up. I was like, in
Camelback
LA,
fat.
man, like, ladies out. Yeah. Anyways, so interesting excrements. So, I don't know if people know this or not, but I'm going to let you know anyway. Okay. The name Roman, the word Roman, more like, because it's more of a word than a name. Okay. At this point. And, it's either between Simon or Roman. Was my mom was those are the two that she said. And so on the gematria ciphers, Roman under almost every 75% of these ciphers equals gator. So the word gator and Roman are the same all the way across the board. And so if people want to start calling me gator instead, that'd be great. I'm not trying to like, give myself a nickname or anything. I'm just trying to hint it out like live on the air, in secret.
Yeah.
And
Thanks, Roman.
oh, you gotta say it like Gator. Oh, here's Gator. I think I am from the South, like somehow, like the Southern, like this. What is with the draw? What is with the Southern draw? Is it the magnetic energy? I am curious. Is it pulling the jaw down? Is it mess with the toroidal field of your body? What's
Maybe
up?
it was Roman, Roman was like Sun Man.
Ah, ah, oh. Actually, looking into the name
You should know some shit with
Rome.
Roman. Come on, don't you look into your name?
No, I hate it. I hate the name.
You're
It's
the
terrible.
Florida. Chad Stimke says you're the Florida Gator.
That's right, baby. Now that is what I'm talking about. That they're like, because I found out after I did the whole Florida trip and then the Florida deep dives. I don't even know. It was just on the gematria calculator, just typing shit in, and yeah. So you just got into Saxor Saga. I haven't dug into that yet. I would like to,
Yeah, you
but
need to check it out, man.
I do. But can you want to give us a little juice on the Saxor Saga for people listening that might not know what it is?
Well, you can go over to the Deep Share, and Andy and I did a whole episode on the Saxor Saga and how we compared it to the Bach Saga. But also, a little brief history is what they believe is that Florida is the Garden of Eden, and that there was a Greek woman named Hesperides who married Atlas, and this is kind of, I guess, where they set up shop, and supposedly it's also has a relation to Atlantis and Eden. And there's another part of it. I'm not sure if this is Saxor Saga, but it's in the video. But it's
Hmm.
by another older gentleman who wrote a book, authored a book about Florida being the Garden of Eden by the different varieties of trees. I think he said there was 57 varieties of trees listed in the Bible that was in Eden, and there's 56 of those trees now in Florida. So he gives that as one of the things. And also, he said there's a gopher wood tree in Florida, and he believes that's what Noah built the ark out of, was this gopher wood, because it was light, very light, but it was also very strong. So he could build a big ship out of this gopher wood. Uh, and then just some of the views that it showed from this place in Florida was very, very paradise like. So that's kind of like the gist of Saxor Saga, is that the Greeks came over to Florida at one point, and possibly it was the original location of Eden.
Wow. Well, okay. So I'm gonna follow up with that with the another. I got an article from a discovery of an underwater pyramid by the Bimini Road. And then I got a video that we can watch. It's a 10-minute video, but it's great. So if the sound works, then we will share it. So let's get into this here. For anybody on the Patreon, I posted an episode that we did last night with this guy Andy Sage, who will be coming on to the Craven live episode probably next month after this next one that we do. And anyway, so he's been studying a lot of the ancient language connection and like the ancient origins of the language and Sumerian history and just all the ancient histories. He's been in it for a couple decades now. And he told me about this this crystal ball that was found by Dr. Ray Brown in in over here in this Cuba area, in the Bimini Road area, in that area. And this, he has the ball and there's evidence of the ball, but the story that he tells of how he got it quite literally sounds like some sort of Disney fascination sci-fi. And this crystal ball is said to reflect metals. So it has like magnetic qualities to it.
There
So
is
this
some of
article,
that crystal ball. There is some of that crystal ball stuff in the Saxer saga, also.
that's why I'm following up with this, because when you think about
Yeah.
the Saxon saga being Florida, Florida is only the way we know it now after America has given it
Hmm.
its name, right?
Right.
It was more, it was
Yeah.
this entire area. You can consider all of the keys to be a part of the same
The
land.
key.
The key, the keystone, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so this is underwater pyramids. Pyramids supposedly exist below the oceans due to the fall of ancient mythological civilizations such as Lemuria and Atlantis. In truth, they do not exist and will never be found in our reality. What? The Crystal Pyramid. In 1970, Dr. Ray Brown, a naturopath practitioner from Mesa, Arizona, was scuba diving with friends near the Berry Islands, Bahamas, in an area 20 miles from the edge of a submarine drop-off called the Tongue of the Ocean. During the dive, Brown became separated from his companions and, in trying to rejoin them, suddenly saw a strange pyramid shape looking up against the aquamarine light. The pyramid was situated 22 fathoms down and stood 120 feet high, with only 90 feet projecting out from the sea floor shifting sands. Brown was first struck by how smooth and mirror-like the stone surface of the structure was, with the joints between the individual blocks almost indiscernible. Swimming about the capstone, which the Arizona diver thought looked like lapis lazuli, he discovered an entranceway and decided to explore further. Passing along a narrow hallway, Brown finally came to a small rectangular room with a pyramid-shaped ceiling. What was amazing was that the room contained no algae or coral growing on the inner walls. They were completely spotless. In addition, though Brown had brought no flashlight, he could nevertheless see everything in the room perfectly. It was very bright and well lit, but no direct light source was visible. Brown's attention was drawn to a brassy metallic rod 3 inches in diameter, hanging down from the apex of the center. And at its end was attached a many-faceted red gem, which came to a point directly below the rod and gem. Sitting in the middle of the room was a stand carved of stone atop the stone plate with scrolled ends. Okay, I'm gonna read that again. Sitting in the middle of the room was a stand of carved stone, topped with a stone plate with scrolled ends. On the plate rested a pair of carved metal bronze colored hands, life-sized, which appeared blackened and burnt, as if having been subjected to tremendous heat. Nestled in the sands and situated 4 feet directly below the ceiling rod gem point was a crystal sphere, 3.5 inches in diameter. Brown first attempted to pry loose the ceiling rod and red gemstone, but neither would budge. Turning back to the crystal sphere he had found easily separated from the bronze hand holders, and left the pyramid with it. As he departed, Brown felt a presence and heard a voice from somewhere telling him to never return. Fearing that his unusual prize might be confiscated as salvaged treasure by the U.S. government, Dr. Brown did not disclose the existence of the strange crystal or his experiences until 1975. When he exhibited the crystal for the first time, he displayed the crystal only a half a dozen times, but each time witnesses have seen or been sensitive to strange phenomena directly associated with it. Deep inside the crystal form, one gazes upon 3 pyramid images, one in front of the other in decreasing size. Some entering a meditative or alpha brainwave state of consciousness are able to clearly see a 4th pyramid in the foreground of the other 3. The significance of the image may have been hinted at a psychic Elizabeth Bacon of New. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it right now. Elizabeth Bacon? You're out your damn mind. That fool was made of fucking bacon scaled wrapped leather serpentine fucking shit, bro. She's a psychic named Elizabeth Bacon? Was she born straight out of the homunculus pot of fucking John D? Like, what the fuck? Anyways, um, psychic Elizabeth Bacon of New York, in a trance reading the mysterious sphere, she received the message that the object had once belonged to Thoth, the Egyptian god who ages ago buried the secret vault of knowledge of Giza. Near the three great pyramids there, do the positions of the three pyramid images in the crystal hold a key to finding a fourth, as yet unfound subterranean pyramid that is fabled of the Hall of Records. From the side, the internal images dissolved into thousands of tiny fracture lines, and Brown feels that they may be electrical in nature, like some sort of form of microscopic circuitry. From still another angle and in other special conditions, many witnesses have been able to see a large single human eye staring serenely at them. Photographs of this eye have also been taken, like the mysterious crystal skull of Central America. Dr. Brown's crystal sphere is the source of a variety of paranormal events. People have felt breezes of ionic winds blowing close towards it. Cold and warm is surrounded at various distances. Other witnesses have been phantom lights, heard voices, or felt strange tingling sensations around it. A compass needle was placed next to the sphere, and it will spin counterclockwise, then begin to turn the opposite direction, which moved only 2 inches away. Metals are temporarily magnetized in close contact with it. There are even recorded instances where one person has been temporarily healed of an ailment by touching the crystal sphere, but then the next person to come into its range took on the symptoms of the ailment of the other person, as if the crystal could draw out and activate human disorders at will. Just what the purpose of the crystal sphere was and what role it once played in the enigmatic instrument Brown found inside the sunken Bahamian pyramid remains a mystery, though of course there are some interesting possibilities. One idea proposes that the sunken pyramid once attracted, accumulated, and generated cosmic forces. The suspended rod may have conducted forces acclimated in the capstone. The faceted red gem at the end concentrated and projected the energy to the crystal sphere below it, and burnt and blackened hands, showing the evidence of an energy transfer, probably amplified the release of energies, while the crystal sphere acted as the turner and broadcaster of the energies. All that we know for certain is that the crystal sphere Dr. Brown retrieved from the system is by itself testimony to a sophisticated technology, for his experts at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington noted the technology for cutting quartz stone to perfection exhibited the crystal sphere was not accomplished by our civilization until after 1900. So down here are some photos. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up Sarah Bressman Cosme again,
Right.
as we do about this, because when we talked to her before, I think this part actually got cut off of the interview, but she was talking about when she was interviewing this girl about her life in Lemuria. Uh, she was saying that the Atlanteans would come down there to get these red crystals from them, and because they had very energetic properties and they could have energy harvesting from these red crystals, and I guess they were like super energetic, more powerful than anything else on the planet, and they were using it in whatever stuff that they were doing with it, and they wanted it from them. So interesting, they found it in a pyramid off Florida. We're talking about Eden being there, but maybe Florida is actually a Lemurian place and not an Atlantean place, or
And so,
maybe Lemuria was the southern hemisphere of the planet, or you know, instead of the northern.
I think it could even be as simple as like, you know, Lemuria of the land and Atlantean of the air, you know, if they were existing at the same time, or if
Mm.
kind of like a theosophical point of view would be, that they were considered ages, and, like the Lemurian tale was ending as the Atlantean was rising. And so that they say that, the powers of Atlantis were to take out the spiritual structure of the Lemurian way, and then all that was known was the Atlantean way. But it could just be that that's just the way that the cycles and ages move, and or yeah, like land, air, could be the fallen angel situation as well, like, or the cedar race stories too, like the Box Saga situation, is another good one as well. So yes, sir. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, terribly sorry. What are you gonna say? I
You
can't
go
see your
ahead.
face, so I don't know.
I was sitting back.
Oh, okay. My bad. These next photos are not, just to let everybody know, these are not photos of the thing that Dr. Ray Brown, the stories of that, even though it's on the same site. These are from Japan, sunken stone structures off of Okinawa, Japan, located 60 to 100 feet beneath the ocean surface, have the Japanese wondering if their homeland was once part of the continent of Lemuria. Stone terraces, right-angled block and walls. The stone circles encompassing hexagonal columns look intriguingly, if not inclusively, man-made. Yeah. A few more clues: an encircling road, what might be post holes supported long gone wooden structures, what look like cut steps and castles, similar architecture located nearby that are still on land. It's pretty nuts. So, see, the two sites that are getting the most attention near the city of Naha is Okinawa is what looks like a wall with coral encrusted right angle blocks. Another just off the southern end of the tiny island of Yonaguni. Yes, we've heard of Yonaguni around here. The southernmost island of Japan is an extensive site with 5 irregular layers that look like ceremonial terrace platforms. There are 8 anomalous underwater sites found to date. 2 of Japan's leading researchers of the sites, the Kiichiro Aratake, who first discovered the Yonaguni site, and Professor Masaki Kimura, a marine geologist with the University of Ryukyus, Okinawa. Professor Kimura has spent several years studying all 8 sites, especially Yonaguni, and was founded in 1985. Kimura believes there are also monuments made by man, left by unknown civilization, perhaps the Asian mainland, home of our oldest civilizations. He reasons that if the 5 layers of the Yonaguni site had been carved by nature, you would find debris of erosion that have collected around the site, but no rock fragments have yet been found. He adds that there is what looks like a road encircling the site as further indication it was used by man. He believes the building his monument necessitated a high degree of technology, some sort of machinery. Okay. Or as Japan sits on the ring of fire, tectonic activity may have caused subsidence of the land, or perhaps a combination of subsidence and inundation of rising sea levels, or catastrophic event dropped it intact upright into the ocean. Teraraki Ishii, a professor of geology at Tokyo University, believes the site is partially man-made, partially natural, and suggests a date of 8,000 BC, contemporary to the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley. Others have suggested a date of 12,000 years. Of preliminary reports of the first Americans dive the sites, May 1998, to diving to the 8 known sites. Mike, an amateur underwater archaeologist adventurer, and Boris, the executive producer of NBC documentary Mystery of the Sphinx. I've seen that one. Mystery of the Sphinx. I remember that one. Yeah, so, underwater structures. And so bringing up another guest that we had on the show, Von Gult, which was another banger during the same time period too. Man, it was good times. Let's see. Oh, I had a video. I had a video too. Let's try this video. It's on Bimini Road, and if the sound works, we should totally run it. Let me know. Can you guys hear that? Can you hear that, Dan?
I don't hear anything.
Damn it! Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have to fuck with the settings. My apologies. Let's see what are some comments here. Vapor canopy, atmospheric oceans. Okay. The cities from where the oceans were in the sky is vapor canopy, like Snake said. Okay, I'm. Did I miss something? What is this vapor canopy? I like this. What are we talking about here? What is this, Dan? Do you know of this vapor
Snake
canopy? I mean,
Jones, jump. Snake
jump on
Jones, hit the
in.
link. Jump in.
You
Yeah,
hit the
come talk
link,
to us
baby.
about it.
You obviously got some
Yeah.
shit to say. And decoded. Damn, I really want to share some sounds. Let me go here.
Decoded.
Settings. Hmm. Yeah, I guess I don't know how that works. Damn. Video with sounds. Uh no visible. Okay, let's see. No visible sun, just light in a reddish hue. In the night skies projected the stars and moon as if looking through a natural telescope with the thick vapor lens. Why the old astrologers were so accurate. Ah, okay, I see you. Snake and Gator, let's go, bud. We haven't podcasted. It's been months. No, Kaylee asked if they're talking about a flat Earth theory. Like, so, I mean, I think I think any model of the cosmology is going to have some sort of vapor canopy of sorts. The gases in the atmosphere, things are floating around. Like, it's sometimes the most simple realizations just blow my mind. But of course, the other day, and I already knew this, but like I just came really simple. It was like, electricity is floating around in the atmosphere, and all these things are absolutely floating around in the atmosphere. It's how we contort and control them and manipulate the direction in which they go. And so, there's everything is here, everything's there. It's just the way that it's manipulated, transmuted, or put into its specific structure. And that's where the sacred geometry comes into play, because when you add the specific shape, then that that the ability to move energy through and forth, with its different calculations, the cosmic code, baby. But I would like to. I don't know if LC is still on here. LC should jump up in here because would like to talk about his interest in cosmology. Yo, what up, Sun C? What up? That's Rachel. What's happening? What's happening, Rachel? Yeah, what's up? Welcome to Chatty. Yeah. So I'm jazzed up today, guys. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I was down for the past few days. I was down, and I'm curious how you guys have been feeling with this full moon. Dan, tell us about your full moon experience, bud.
I don't want to.
Really? You don't want to share?
No.
Okay. Wow. All right, bud.
It's not really anything. I don't even know what you're really
Oh.
referring to. But
Oh, you didn't have any like energetic experiences? I mean, I remember that you had used the full moon last time to put some energy into finding a home that you're trying to buy.
yeah, I
So
canceled that though.
you did?
Yeah, so that didn't really work out for me very well. But I did get the place, but I had to cancel it because of financial things.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So, you got to be careful when you're out here using moon divination. But I don't know. I guess I'll tell you about mine. It was the past.
Is this when you put the fucking chicken carcass on the fucking
I
offering
did
table?
know. Yeah, I did know. I did a little bit of offering this time. It's not when I'm offering things to whatever is out there, to have, like, it's not to get rich. It's not to get money or anything. It's just to to be thankful and grateful. I mean, I am incredibly grateful to be alive. I'm incredibly grateful to be able to explore the consciousness and to dive deep into life, and so um when I had no even intention, I didn't even ask for anything, it's just like, here's some food. Thank you for letting me eat and flourish and be very plentiful up until this point, and just please, have some sort of protection, I mean, I don't know, but no, I didn't do any offerings this full moon about time. I got the farm alone, so I'm out here alone, cruising, doing my thing. And the first morning I wake up and I'm here on the farm alone, the faucet was left on in the backyard, which was my mistake. Absolutely. Like, can't leave any water on at all. Listen to him laugh. Listen to him laugh, you son of a bitch. So yeah, so the pump blew, right? And then there's all this water going everywhere. And I don't know if you guys have ever woken directly up and you go straight into a heightened scenario, like going from just like sleeping peaceful dreamland to waking up and then being automatically put in that. It kind of sets the tone for your whole day, and those elements, whatever. Like, I remember one time we were at this house that was called the Hell House, and it was just absolutely, it was terrible. Like, it was haunted, all these things. And there was a big haunting paranormal weird entity experience after this big party that we hosted at this place. And I woke up and like the dog was having like a seizure, and there's people just hurting themselves like out of nowhere. It was just really sloppy, strange things that all happened in the series of a few hours. And there was like knives and people chasing around each other with knives. There was like complete lunacy, hysteria. And it was really weird. It was like everybody was like literally possessed at this party. It was very, very strange. And I woke up, and for some reason, like there was a couple people in the bed, and the blanket had feathers, but the feathers were floating in the air. And you wake up like almost panicking. And oh shit, we got someone joining the stream. And so yeah, the feathers everywhere. And so when you wake up from just your sleep land, go diving into your consciousness, and then you go straight into a heightened experience, that element like sticks with you, or the feathers, they stick with you. And so this full moon, I was torrentially downpoured upon with water, thousands of gallons here in a drought-ridden land of California. And funny enough, now that I think about it, it went from being 110 degrees every day last week to dropping down, and today is overcast, and we had fucking sprinkling of rain. The last time we've had overcast and rain out here, it has been a very long time.
Forever.
So there
hasn't been no streams in the sky for the last week or so either.
No streams for you. No
cloud chemtrails.
No chemtrails.
No cloud seeding. Yeah. It's almost like they're letting the light in. Weird.
Okay. All right.
Let's see what's up with Bird Dog, though.
Bird Dog, what's happening, baby?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Swell and well. How are you?
Good, man. I wanted to jump in on the vapor canopy if you guys are interested in some new territory. This one guy, it's related to the Phoenix phenomenon, and every researcher has their own dates, right? They all go, 2040 is the day, or like, you know what I mean? They all have their own calculations and dates and etc. But one guy that's doing really well is on YouTube. His name's Archaics, and he's been sharing a lot about the vapor canopy, and he's basically, the cycle of this realm kind of goes through its different metaphysical changes. I mean, he goes into like history, like when the 4 giant sea kings from the Americas came over to across the Atlantic, and they're the ones that kind of seeded all this Egyptian, Roman stuff,
architecture and monuments and things.
Yeah, and they just came and they came in their huge boats. They were giants, and they had, hold on, we got four wheelers
Ice,
going by, which is beautiful. But
ice giants.
yeah, well, they were they were human. They were supposedly coming from the Americas, and their boats had artisans and architects, and all the skills, not just military. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a really cool story. But I'm not an expert on the vapor canopy, but essentially it has to do with all the great collapses and cataclysms that have been built into the cycle that we all know of. And he goes into his chronological. He has his word, not chronological, but something. Basically, 1,000 years has basically been removed from our calendars, and you guys are aware, like all the
Mm-hmm.
various calendars, have been
Yeah.
massaged, so to speak. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
undoubtedly.
so it's a lot. So and I'm not an expert, but if anyone's interested, check out his work. It's just ties in a lot of stuff.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think it's just
interesting.
it changed. The calendars. Some might say they just change with the times. It's just, oh, it's a new ruler. Strip it out. We gotta. No, I have a
Yeah,
new idea for how the calendar is gonna go. Oh, we're not gonna follow that old shit anymore.
yeah, and they all like what's it, Stitching and all those folks. They all disagree. But the cool thing, guys, is about this particular gentleman. Yeah, his name's Jason. He was in prison for like decades. He got
Wow.
access. He was basically like a librarian and got access to all these books from like the 1800s that were just sitting in prisons. He was like moving books from one library to another, built warehouses shutting down. So he had all these like old books. And you would imagine, you have a lot of time on your hands, and he and the other prisoners, man, they just really put a lot together with no internet. And then he never even heard about flat Earth until he got out of prison, a handful of years ago. So it's not it's not any particular cosmology. It's just
And so,
it's a
what is his timeline? What is the timeline that this specific source is saying? Like, has he found out
yeah.
what
Yeah,
what
he's
what it
got the
is?
time. Yeah, he's got the
Okay.
dates. Every 138 years, there's a cataclysm. He says the
Yep,
Phoenix phenomenon is
that's
coming up
about
on
right.
2040. 20.
Okay.
So that would be 1902 was the last.
What is the
Yeah.
Phoenix phenomena? What is the
I heard
Phoenix
I
phenomena?
I heard this guy on a podcast. I forget what podcast it was though. But yeah, I listened to this before.
Yeah, the Phoenix phenomenon is
There's
basically like all your rapture talk, all your revelations, like that type of
yeah.
talk.
Okay.
Yeah, what's this guy? This is Archaics or a different person?
Archaics with the H. I think the homie spelled it wrong in there. His name's Jason. Uh,
Okay.
really interesting stuff. I mean, it's a lot of info. I'm not smart enough to really relay it properly. I'm not really doing his work justice right now. So
No. You're doing great, man. I mean, I've never heard of it at all, and now I'm like, okay, I hear you. I dig it. I think you did a great job. You're a
yes, and
great
of course
communicator, bud.
cycles. Yeah, and thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Of course.
It's something I'm working on actually. But anyway,
You're doing great. I love it.
yeah. So if you trace back every 138 years, and then there's larger cycles within those cycles, right? So yeah, he's got all the dates worked out. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Well, what have you been up to, man? You got your own YouTube channel. For people that don't know, he is the Crypto Ronin. He's got a YouTube channel where he puts in esoteric interest and esoteric goodness into the crypto world, man, which is fascinating and very, very needed. And thank you for doing your
Yeah,
work, brother.
yeah. I'll if you guys want me to hang, I'll hang, or I'll drop and let you do your thing. But if you guys want to check out, like the last Friday night live we had was so amazing because we have a channeler, astrologer on our team. She really
Ooh,
channels astral. She astral projects like just whenever she wants to. And we have
awesome.
yeah, and then we have another awesome gematria numerology guy, and yeah, we use this for utility. We use this knowledge. I mean, we're here because we just like to know stuff because it's interesting, and
Yep.
it makes our lives more, expands our consciousness. But we can also make this matrix money off of this knowledge as well, And astrology works, man. When to start a business, when to do this, and this guy applies it to the charts with amazing precision. Anyway, come check it out if you guys want to.
Yeah, I definitely do. The
man.
only problem for me is every Friday night, I have a multiple hour delegation going on. So checking them live is hard for me on Friday nights. Like I can't do any fun podcasty things on Friday nights, but obligations. But either way, the show will go on and the show will get absorbed and information still received, because I still, and I, like I told you before, sir, I just haven't taken the plunge into the crypto realm. It still scares the living pants off of me. It scares the pants off of me, bud. I don't even like wearing pants. I really don't. Like, I would prefer to not have ever worn pants. And, even in battle on a trampoline, I don't care. Okay. But tell me why you think it's going to stick around, man. You don't think it's just going to crash after a couple of years?
Well, one, your fear, and all of our fears come from anything we're not familiar with, which is totally normal.
Mhm.
That's facts.
Yeah.
And once you get familiar with it, it's like anything. It's like, oh, it is pretend internet digital money, but isn't everything else pretend internet digital money? You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
The whole thing's a farce. It's all a farce. Like, everything's a farce, but you know what I mean? So once you understand the system, once you know the rules, you can better know how to break the rules and navigate this realm. It will be around, minus any black swan events where just money's not a thing at all. But if we have the internet, that is what the lizards, and they're trying to implement their beast system, is what they're trying to do. So we might as well put our pennies next to their dollars, profit, and maybe help change the narrative and become powerful with some wealth. And that's just how it works, unfortunately, because as above, so below. So we do expand our consciousness and we are powerful beings. Also, as below, we could be powerful here as well. And it's silly, I know, but you guys know it's just the financial system. It's all it's all a scam, no matter how we look at it.
My main thing with it is it just like, it's investing into, stocks or something. There's so many numbers and variable facets that aren't like absolutely like, I don't have control issues. I don't, of course not, but maybe slightly I do. And it's hard for me to, just willingly trust the coins and the going, the in and the out. And, I feel
bro, they're rolling that out. Your cash they're trying to kill cash. They want to surveil every exchange. And when I buy a t-shirt from you guys, they want to know exactly who sent it to where and how much, and then they'll know, because it is public.
Yeah,
it is. So
it's completely gridlocked way of money, and it's controllable. Like, you can know every single
surveillance.
Of it. Yeah.
It's everything, and once you control that, they have total control. Unfortunately, that's what these their lizard they've implemented. I don't want to go down the economic talk too much, but the Fed and all that type of talk. So they are implementing this. As long as we have the internet, they are implementing blockchain to run on everything. Almost like here, I'd be paying you micro payments just being here, on your, like, the internet of money, the internet of value, all that stuff. It's going to be a thing. If it breaks down, I actually hope, because then we'll have a little bit more freedom. But I'm not starting any revolution anytime soon. I'm just trying to enjoy my time in this experience, So
yeah, man.
Yeah, but there is, so with that stuff, the reason I mentioned that surveillance stuff is there are other options, because we always find a way. If you're freedom minded, we can have privacy blockchains where we can do commerce with each other and invisible to the lizards, like using a VPN, but with commerce. So I can now buy that T-shirt off of you. They don't know who, what, when, how much was sent, or anywhere. So there is a peer-to-peer stuff going on. Yeah, I don't want to turn this into a finance blockchain talk because I could go on. I'm just trying to go over some of the basics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thank you. I appreciate it because you know, I'm gonna take a plunge into it at some point. I'm like rubbing my face and stressing out just talking about it. But yeah, it's because I like to dive into shit, man. I like to get into it. You know what I mean? I like to like, oh, we're going on this rabbit hole, and like I feel like I'm like standing on the edge of that cliff about to jump in the pool, and you're just like, once you jump, and then you're all wet.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to be ready.
I'm the same. I think we're all the same. I mean, 2020, you know, after a lot of time indoors and after seeing their whole plan and all their great reset and all that type of stuff, I've sunk my teeth into blockchain like you know, I was spending hours and hours and hours into that. So yes, there's that risk. There's that risk where you're going to talk to Dan all day long about only blockchain because that's what you might get involved in, you know. But yeah. But in the meantime, I mean, you know, I was gonna switch gears. If you guys ever want to come on my show and talk this, we can talk it because it does start to sound like school after a while. You know, talking about finances. But what do you guys think about some of these lost cities? Like, you know, the El Dorado stuff, lost cities of gold. And when I think about Florida and the Keys, I mean, if you guys ever been there, the water's like ankle deep for a long time. So
yeah,
I don't know if those were above, if the waters rose or this is erosion, but you know, a lot of the Caribbean is not that deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they talk about.
Go ahead.
Randall Carlson talks about like the Younger Dryas and comet impacts that affected the Yucatan Peninsula. I think there was somewhere up in Canada and another place. So theoretically, just to speculate here, if the Gulf wasn't the Gulf before and it wasn't like a vast part of the ocean and it was all land, all that stuff would have been connected through the Yucatan Peninsula, through Cuba, through like Jamaica, Virgin Islands, Florida, and Bimini Road. Possibly Bimini Road could have been up above the water. So there's a lot of ideas of maybe that being like that central area being a civilization of Atlantis, or you know, some other predating civilization. So there's also a lot of connections with like Arizona and Georgia and Florida and a lot of the other places around the Gulf, Louisiana. So I definitely believe that there's probably a ancient civilization in the Americas, undoubtedly. How long ago and how old that civilization, I guess you could speculate, but definitely there was something in the Americas here. And yeah, I think that there was it's interesting you talked about like the four sea kings coming across. I think that they actually had like a chain of islands in the Atlantic and they were protecting America from the people in the Middle East and Asia and Europe from being able to come over to the Americas, because they were using it as kind of like their grounds to develop plants and agriculture and stuff like that, and using it to take over to the Mediterranean and trading with Egypt and all the other different civilizations around the Mediterranean. And so they would develop stories of krakens and whatnot, or stories of giants or cyclops to keep people from leaving the area of the Mediterranean and going out west. So I think America was already known about, and as far back as at least the 1100s, even by the Templar, because their story of Templars being in Nova Scotia. So, yeah, man.
I mean, dude, for someone in China to take a boat north up the coast, you'll be in Alaska quite easily. You know, you don't even need. You can take a rowboat. You don't even need to. And these people were. Everyone was basically at the seas. You know, they knew how to build a boat.
The waters
So,
move really
Yeah.
fast around there. You know, if you're setting sails, it's like, yeah, you can get to. I mean, it's not too bad. It's not too long. And then, you know, you gotta think how much of these mythos and these lores have about deluges and cataclysms in history, and how there's been a lot more in the past. So the geography itself of Earth is constantly kind of shifting, and you know, there's speculation of the true age of the Earth as it goes through its initiation process or what have you, like celestial initiation, just, you know, the boyhoodiness of life and understanding. But I wanted to share growing up, you know, as a young Earth, and just having tantrums and sloshing things, and then people spitting on you, and Saturn dropping all its rain, said Velikovsky. Or, you know, there's talk of like we're in a cycle that goes this way around our sun, but then there's another one that kind of wraps around like this. So there's like these rotating gears, and, you know, there's like, I think it's almost the same rotational time as the equinox, or not the equinox. What's the word I'm looking for? The precession, right? Which is 2,400 years, I believe. And they say every time we pass through that solar body, then more liquid from these like more liquid planets are coming into the atmosphere. So then they get caught, and then Earth just gets dumped a bunch more water from the outside. Like that's a potential as well. You know, I thought I had this theory for a little bit that kind of like an egg, you know, there's a lot of this egg lore. There's a lot of egg. And I think we found the reason why the egg was popular in alchemical text was because they're representing an alchemical homunculus. But I think the concept comes as like a planet, you know, because planets can birth other planets, and bodies can be born from within a planet to produce another planet, like a seed, like a plant, like a spore, whatever the fuck you want, you know, something that creates something else. That's all things, you know, splitting off and making, transmuting.
well, dude,
so on
what
and so
about
forth.
the Ben stone? Like, you reminded me of like the Ben stone.
I mean, I was about to
That
get
supposedly
into.
came. I don't
yes.
want to take. Yeah, that just made me think. The Ben stone kind of it appeared, but let's say it came from above, and that created all kinds of. Well, there's all kinds of mythologies on what that created.
Is the
But
Ben stone the moon?
The Ben stone was supposedly an actual stone here, and it just appeared. You know, many say it fell from the sky, and it just. I mean,
This is the
Just
Egyptian
change the-
Ben stone or a different Ben stone?
Change the axis forever. Change the gravitational and the magnetic
change
poles.
I think it's all of them, Dan. I mean, they all have similar stories. You know, I think they're all talking about
Yeah.
the same thing. But it did bring in lore. It brought all kinds of changes. It brought like
The
possibly
pineal gland.
Yeah, very possible. So that whole vapor canopy talk is also where you go, how do you have giants, or how do you have this? Well, that's because this whole realm was actually larger, you know, in a strange way. You know, it's hard for us to it's larger in like not just 3D.
Mhm.
It was like I'm not even smart enough to explain it. You know what I mean, Dan? But so, you know, that's how you
Well-
have these things. Yeah.
Well, yeah, think about this. Like if water levels were 400 feet lower, then there would have been more land at one point, right? And possibly a lot
So
of
much
different
more
places that we
exposed
think don't connect were connected. So there was possibly land
Dude,
that
larger
they could have
fauna.
traveled over that way. Yeah, larger. Yeah, like the megafauna time period. Yeah, for sure. They actually have found the giant squid in the ocean just recently, like 70 fucking foot long giant squid.
Nice.
With giant humans, lots of giant type animals.
Do you guys fuck with Edward Leedskalnin? Scalnin?
Yeah, Coral Castle.
Coral Castle, man. But beyond Coral Castle, this guy just got his book. I recommend everybody go get it. You can get a PDF version of the book for free. I think it's just called Magnetism, or the Power of Magnetism, because magnets and magnetism itself is a force that has been a part of human history, and it's incredibly powerful, and has the history with mining, and navigation, and gravity, and just defying things and keeping energy circulating and building generators for magnets, all these things. I think it's incredibly important. I also think magnets have a play at how they interact with the human optimization. I think if we work within the field of magnetism, then we can be a fully optimized version of ourselves. I know that Snake that's listening has a sweet connection to some magnetism on his awesome property out there in the cosmos. So congratulations, sir, because I know you out here finding the stones and the gems, man, and that's what it's about. So I just want to dive into a little bit of Edward Leedskalnin, and then we'll see what's Gucci over here. Did Edward Leedskalnin use the power of sound waves to defy gravity? What other acoustic applications are involved in humanity's history? Many ancient structures were not built with sound, but to make sound. A series of concentric coral circles is said to represent the solar system. Nearby stand Mars, which he believes sustained life, and Saturn. Ooh. A 30-ton skeletope telescope towering 25 feet above the complex. Telescope, eh? Okay. Perfectly aligned to the North Star. Hey, here's Ron at the Coral Castle, June 18th, 2017. Hey, Ron. Oh, look, Ron's
What's up,
son,
Ron?
Ronnie. Hey, Ronnie. Oh, gates, doors, energy. Entrance to Coral Castle is made through a gate fashioned from a single coral block weighing 9 tons. The miraculous monolith is approximately 80 inches wide, 92 inches tall, and 21 inches thick. Damn. It fits within a quarter inch of the walls on either side and pivots through an iron rod resting on an automobile gear. The enormous black block balances so perfectly on the center of gravity that a visitor can easily push it with one finger. People who are sensitive to electromagnetic energy fields will sometimes report headaches while standing inside the archway of a 9-ton swinging gate door, thought to be over a vortex and a major grid point on the planet. The door across represent one gate to another dimension. Oh, look, here's the man himself with his initials. Proper picture. Noted. I'm going to start doing that. Just been like, just in case anybody tries to forge this. It's my initials. Coral Castle is an oolite limestone structure created by the Latvian-American eccentric Edward Leedskalnin, 1887 to 1951, located in Leisure City, Florida, in Miami-Dade County, at the intersection of South Dixie Highway and Southwest 157th Avenue. The structure comprises numerous megalithic stones, mostly limestone formed by coral, each weighing several tons. It is currently a private-operated tourist attraction. Coral Castle is noted for legends surrounding its creation that claim it was built single-handedly by Leedskalnin using reverse magnetism or supernatural abilities to move and carve numerous stones weighing many tons. The Coral Castle was built in the early 20th century by an eccentric Latvian recluse named Edward Leedskalnin, who allegedly left Latvia when he was rejected by a 16-year-old fiance. He would never marry and would spend 30 years of his life building a coral castle that is and its surrounding buildings. For his alleged Sweet 16, leaving America, he came down the terminal with terminal tuberculosis. He allegedly spontaneously healed, stating that magnets had some effect on his healing. Leedskalnin was a 100-pound, 5-foot-tall man who wound up in Homestead, Florida, on a 10-acre tract of land just south of Miami, Florida. Somehow he allegedly managed to single-handedly lift and maneuver blocks of megalithic stones, mostly coral, weighing up to This repeats itself a lot here. Leedskalnin has never been discovered. Though he labored for 30 years, the veracity of his doing this alone is impossible to prove because he worked at night, hidden from the eyes of observers. He seemed to know when he was being watched. On those occasions, he wouldn't lift the stones and stopped working. Some suggest Leedskalnin used a form of anti-gravity device to build the castle. Numerous designs have been suggested for this device, and some using harmonic sound waves, some using magnetism, and numerous other proposals. Leedskalnin himself claimed that he knew the secret of the ancient Egyptian pyramids, and some allege that he used those stone secrets to assemble the structure. He was quoted as saying, "I have discovered the secrets of the pyramids and have found out how the Egyptians and the ancient builders in Peru, Yucatan, and Asia, with only primitive tools, raised and set in place blocks of stones weighing many tons." Simple traditional means, okay.
Are you
Bird Dog,
familiar
have you
with
ever heard of this guy before? Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I want to visit his stuff.
Me too, man. Let's go.
Yeah, I would love to.
And it's weird. When I read about it, it was like sometimes it'd be open to the public and sometimes it'd be closed. I don't know what the logistics are at the moment, but are you guys familiar with like some European guy, you know, I don't know who, but he was in the Tibet. He was watching the Tibetans move incredibly huge stones with their, like, you know, those long horns that they have. It's almost like didgeridoos, but they're like super long.
Wow. And they're horn. They're made of the collagen bone material.
They're just these big old, like, no, they're not made of. They are horns. I don't think they're made of horns.
Oh, okay.
But
I was like,
you know, if you look up Tibetan monks blowing on like horns and stuff, they're all about vibrations, man.
Mm-hmm.
And they it's like he's like 10-foot long. They just go, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you got like 12 dudes all around a huge stone, and everyone's blowing on it, and the stone picks up, moves, and they place it. You know what I mean? On the top of a mountain, one of those a crane would, one of those like tons of things. So yeah, that's look into that. So they were basically moving stones based on sound, vibration, and they didn't need 1,000 guys. It was just like 10 or so dudes.
I feel like, you know, wow. Yeah, like if you were to almost feel like shaking it, you know, just kind of like lightly, like getting it like frictionized with like some the sound, because how the waves of sound itself works. Now it'd be really interesting if to get to know more about this, like the actual like technical physics of those waves, because you have, you know, these different layers of the atmosphere. You know, you have your gases over here, and then you have, you know, electrical waves and radio waves and these different frequencies. Everything is on this different layered frequency level, you know, and you know, and just to think that the sound itself is so powerful that you can move these huge structures.
Bro, that explains a lot how you can move these stones, and they place them precisely. Now, this was reported by a European, right? It's like all our information comes from like a European on the spot eyewitness. You know what I mean? But I can't remember his name. I didn't write it down. I just read it and just was like interesting. But yeah, that's another aspect to how you build these monoliths. You know, just another way.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's just another way of,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard about that before, but that kind of gives some credence to like the walls of Jericho from the Bible too, and how they blew horns and they traveled around it. I'm not sure if it was clockwise or counterclockwise. I don't recall, but the fact that it made it crumble is kind of like it had the opposite effect of having them levitate. So maybe because they were walking around it in a certain gave it like a different momentum or a negative charge by doing that or something, and it just made everything crumble. Be interesting to kind of.
I apologize, Dan. And you guys
Go
are
ahead.
familiar with like and I want your take on this because you just reminded me, like in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, they have that
Mm-hmm.
square, that cube, big old black
Yeah,
cube.
that black cube. Yep.
Mhm.
And by the way, you guys know like one corner of that is supposedly an asteroid from space.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these guys, supposedly it's an asteroid from space, which is weird on its own. And then they walk around it and they chant. Imagine the energy, the vibes. I don't know how it works, but
Mhm.
thousands and thousands of dudes walking around a thing chanting.
Daily.
That's daily. That's got to have some type of reverberation. That's got to have some ripple effect in the cosmos, man. I don't know what, but
I wonder
Yeah, it's
what
also
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
there's black rock too in the Temple Mount. There's like an asteroid that fell down from the sky, and they put it inside the Temple Mount also, and they don't really let very many people go look at it, but it's like a black rock. And when we're talking to Esoteric Eddie about the Mayans, the Tezcatlipoca episode, it had mentioned that I think one Reed went and he destroyed this black rock that they had and broke it into a bunch of pieces. So it seems like maybe this black rock is either giving credence to civilizations or tearing down civilizations in some way. I guess you could say also, or
I mean, it is
there's
black.
something going
It
on with this
absorbs.
black rock and civilizations that's super interesting.
What I suspect, Dan, is in a generic way, it's parasitical and sucks in energy. I think we were all
Yeah.
way cool. We were all way cooler back in the day, and then the parasitic class came in, and they're just like
Yeah.
suck this black energy in, and then somehow they transmute that into, gosh, who knows what.
Yeah. I wonder if it's from a certain star or something like that, where it came from, because it seems to be all over the place. So it's weird. And then you have these secret societies and stuff associated with BlackRock stuff. So
Yeah,
it's
do you guys know
sketchy.
the Anish Kapoor artist
Mm-mm.
that he built the Cloud Gate structure in Chicago,
Mm.
which is like this being, or the Cloud Gate is it's said to be bending of time and space. So it's like this huge reflective cloud or the being. Um, sorry. Anyways, this artist, that was actually a really good photo. I wish I would have gone back. The artist himself, he got like super famous from this, and then he started getting uh, a lot of funding, and the funding that comes to artists like this, like Chad Stumke, did the work on Detroit, and looking at Hart Plaza and his amazing research shows us that the artists that are used for this are high, almost like at initiate and adept levels. The esoteric lore behind like the reason for having art explain metaphysical qualities or celestial happenings is deep in history. And so just because we're talking about the black cube, when I was looking into Anish Kapoor, he, after the Cloud Gate, he got famous. He made his own color, which is Vanta Black. And Vanta Black is supposedly, as far as I know, the blackest black that exists. And he says that he's able to like make this by adding all these like nanotubes and layering the black through like geodesic um, shapes, like having sacred geometrical shapes uh, and tubes, and you can see it. It literally just looks like it's a black hole. And so, you got one time he's making this reflective, substance here, almost like a crystal time bending time machine, and then over here you have him making a black cubic portal in the blackest black in the world. It's like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know, it's just interesting, man. I don't know. They're looking at these artists and the art because ancient architecture, ancient artists, like the sculptures,
Yeah.
the things that still hold true to this day were the artists and the high initiates and adepts of that time. So who the fuck are the high initiate adepts of our time? Like on a real level, is it Elon Musk? I don't fucking think so.
Us, we taking over. They're the mystery schools. No, this is a mystery. This is one of the mystery schools right here. We're starting it right here.
There it is.
Nah, you know what I mean. We're learning their secrets, and we're the tribes are uniting frequency wise. I'm telling you. I mean, guys, I don't want to go over basic stuff. I don't know always my audience, but like the black cube of Saturn, the Saturnists, their Vatican. You wear the black cube over your head when you graduate with your robe. Think outside the box, so to speak. The degree, earn your degree, your master's degree, all that stuff. So
square the circle, baby.
Yeah, yeah. So we're taking that back. And they want to shut that down, but they can't. They're fighting a lose. I feel like we're on a bigger picture force from the trees. I feel like they are fighting a losing battle, and they know it because they have their astrologers as well. This is such rare times when it comes to astrology. Everything's in retrograde. You have eclipse season coming up, you have Pluto, which hasn't. If you look into geographic astrology, it's over America. And they say like it was 1776 last time, and then it was like you're talking about there are things happening right now in the couple months to come that haven't happened in thousands of years. Considering that it's all happening at the same time. Are you kidding me? So this is like, you know what I mean, Dan? This is like,
dude.
Yeah. So who knows?
I've been talking about this a lot, like how all the fucking planets are in retrograde at the same time. It's fucking crazy. What the fuck is going on? Kaylee, jump in here and tell us what the fuck's going on with all this shit, man.
You got to jump on Moon Day Tarot for that.
Yeah, you guys have Kaylee. I have Ani, and that's the channel. She's my astrologist channeler.
Nice.
That's who breaks it down for me.
Yeah. Hey, man, we all gotta have our qualities, to make the community, dude. That's how we get through it day by day, dude.
What do you guys think of? And by the way, where should we go? I don't want to diverge. What do you guys think of the collection of gold all the time? And I kind of feel like some of these old churches and some of these old spires and domes, it's like they were gold and silver in order to have like a world. They had their own internet, basically. They had their own ether internet.
So this is exactly ties into the magnetism and those energy waves that we were talking about. These different layers of energies and of how light works, how the resonance and sound works, how magnetism works on its own, and how they work all simultaneously together. And I think that and water also playing a root in that as well, in the rushing water. So we have some really great shows coming out this week, and then wrapping up the month for the ancient Egypt and Sumerian months that we've been doing. And looking at I don't want to drop too many bombs before we drop those couple episodes we got, but the workings of the conductive metals back in the day were placed, and you can even look at it on a planetary level. Like they symbolize different planets, which symbolize the power of the universe there, and shaped down into different forms of architecture to resonate all of the cosmic forces in that hub or in that central. And then when you combine all of these, like it's almost like scrying or geomancy, where you're bringing all the celestial powers into one place. And gold has the highest celestial energy. It has it is God. God is gold.
The sun.
It's the sun. God. The word gold is God with an L. An L is also God.
What's the elemental table is that? I don't want to Google it right now. What's the elemental number on gold?
I actually don't.
I don't know what the number is.
No. Let's check the number though.
AG, yeah, but I'm trying to think of the number. I got a
79.
sync. Can I share a sync? What is it?
79.
79. Okay.
Hmm.
I bet you there's some
AU
other.
is the symbol, not AG. AU.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
AG silver.
Oh, AG is silver.
And HG is Mercury, I believe.
Bro, I got a sync for you. Can I share a sync real
Sink
quick?
it, baby. Let's get
Yeah.
the dishes going. Let's heat up the sink. Let's go.
Dude, what was it, like a week or so ago? My name, I go by Ronin and I live that Ronin life. And I literally on a Wednesday couple weeks ago had a 47th member join my Ronin TG. I happened to make my 47th YouTube video that same day, not on purpose, just random. It was like I don't know. I think there was like 47 days of something else that was supposed to happen. That's really cool. And then someone brought up to me that I forgot. They were like, "Dude, silver is the 47th element on the element table." And I was like, "Holy
Woo!
shit!" And it was probably
It's the
more
power of the
syncs.
moon. Also, that's
Yeah.
associated with the moon. This is
Yeah,
happening
dude.
around the full moon, as you said.
Yeah, dude, I think it was. And 47 is the 15th prime number, which has its 15 has its own attributes in numerology. So that
Wasn't
was
there
just
a
one.
movie? Wasn't there a
Oh,
movie called 47 Ronin?
oh yeah, but 47 Ronin is an ancient story. They had like Keanu Reeves, but that's actually an ancient.
What? I've never seen this movie. I want to watch
I'm
it.
just
But
saying.
but
You say you go by Ronin and 47.
yeah,
It has
yep.
some aspects to you already. You know what I mean?
It
Yes.
is the
Oh,
cosmic
exactly. Well, I know
code,
47.
dude. These
Yeah, man.
celestial archetypes. The fucking like magic, baby. That's just all magic right there, dude.
Yeah, I mean, 47 Ronin, look up that story. It's a beautiful story. Well, it's not beautiful, it's violent, but it's a beautiful Japanese story.
Oh, what? Okay. Hey,
Do you want me to give you the highlights of it? Or just
I
look
would
it up?
love for you to give us the highlights. Either
Okay, the
that or
highlights
fucking
was
find me a script.
the highlights are you have a Japanese clan, right? Some lizards, their clan lord, he defaced. He was a beautiful lord, and they made him do seppuku Harry Carry on some BS. So the 47 samurai, they did their little politics game, and because he was honorable, he's like, I'll follow the rules. His 47 Ronin disbanded, the clan disbanded, and they all went, making shoes or selling over here. They were like, dude, one day we're gonna come back. One day. And then one day they united. 47 Ronin came through and completely wiped out that clan that effed them over. And then they all killed themselves.
Jesus.
Wow.
So
brutal.
But that was like some real dupe. It's some honor stuff. It's actually somewhat beautiful when you watch it played out in real movies, like old black and white movies. But the 47 Ronin is a beautiful story, and it was just weird. It's just another sync, just one more addition to a sync that I had on a Wednesday. It's crazy when you get, and guys, this is going to play into what I think I've been talking a lot about lately. The syncs, you can't tell me they haven't been almost instantaneous nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Dude, like 2010 to 2019 or 2000 to 2010, the syncs would be like weeks or months later, right? And now they're happening like I'll do something, say something, feel something, and someone will mention it 5 minutes later. That's what I mean by time speeding up, the realm changing, the frequencies are changing here. And you can measure that in the Schumann resonance. You can measure that in the planets. Where do you want to look? Everything is changing, and this is so. And if you're not tuned in tune, and have a sound mind, and really of one accord, we can go on and on about chord and sounds. And we have the 7 chords. We have the 7 spectrums of light. We have the 7 spiritual senses. We have the 7 chakras.
Mm-hmm.
There's 7. You could go on and on. Things are a changing. The syncs are happening. If you're in tune, you could feel it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you may not be in tune on one accord.
Speaking of tuning and accords, we got Roman, aka What's that guy's
Huh?
name? John
Gator.
Mayer.
Oh, I
John
thought he was
Mayer
Gator.
John Mayer Gator.
But what's cool about the music scale and the sacred numbers and geometry and music is all hail the quadrivium, is that there's 7 musical notes
hail
like
the
in the major
quadrivium.
scale, but then you add the extra
Mm.
sharps, which are 5, and the entire musical scale is actually 12. And so you have 7 and then 12 and 5 as the trinity there in the numbers, which 5 is the shape of man, or the 5th element, consciousness, which is what we are. And then 7 is like the 7 cosmic rays and all that. And then 12 is, I don't know, the spokes of the wheel or something. Like the 12 is just next level.
Zodiac.
Yeah, the wheel of the zodiac. Like what is
7
the
is like the sisters
Zodiac.
of planetary bodies.
Yeah. 12 disciples, 12. There's 12
sages.
everywhere, dude.
Mhm.
12 planets. 12, I
Sages.
mean, you name it.
So when you add the extra sharps and flats of the musical scale, like which is 5, then you have 12. So it's a perfect harmony, which makes sense. They're like, okay, let's make the musical scale. Let's make it be geometrically sound in a different waveform. It's like you're literally spelling out the same thing. And so that's why speech is important, y'all. That's why speech is incredibly important. And how much we speak and go, like, at least because of the way society is set
chakra,
up
baby.
now. It's
Throat chakra.
and there's 2 sides of it. So you might be open on one side, but might not be open on the other side, the masculine, feminine type of archetypes within all the chakras. So it's just like, if you're out of balance, like in your heart, you're giving a lot of love away, but you're not giving the other love to yourself, the self-love to balance it out. So you're pouring all your thing out. You're like a bird with an injured wing that's flying around in circles. So when you're just not aligned, your throat chakra, say if one side's out of line, you're being too silent and you're not speaking up.
That's where the 7 spiritual senses come in. If you say something that is not in accord, it quote unquote smells fishy. Right?
Oh yeah, baby.
You know what I mean? And by the way, I just finished Dylan's book, The Deaf Phoenicians, and I didn't even realize it was.
Oh.
When I first started, it was definitions. It's
Yeah.
Deaf Phoenician. I'm like, I'm so dumb. I was like, but yeah, man. If it's not of sound, if it doesn't sound, that don't sound right. If you're not in one accord, like if he's playing one string that's not in tune, it's gonna not be as smooth, right? We need to be in tune, yo.
What's Dylan? Is that his first name or last name?
That's his first name, and I can't pronounce his last name. That's why I don't say it. It's like I learned from him from the Interverse.
Okay.
Shout out to the Interverse. The book's amazing. The etymology is crazy. I know, Dan, you'll love it because of Box Saga and
I'm very interested already.
Harmony. You know what's going on.
Yeah. Especially when you said Deaf Phoenicians, perked me up really quick. I like that. I want to find. Where can I find this book at, man?
Oh man, let me get the info. You can get on Amazon, but it's
You can post it up in the RFTA chat on Telegram.
Yep,
in case
we'll
anybody else out there wants to find it too.
It's
You don't have to do it right now. It's not, but yeah, I want to check that one out.
I mean, he broke down demon, day, day, and moon.
Daemon.
Monday
or Deus.
And they demonized the word demon, which is like, and it also equates, when you boil it down, it means knowledge. So it's wild that they demonize the word demon, which is just actually Monday.
The monad, baby.
That goes to the tribe of Dan and the Tuatha De Danann, and they were called the Daemon, or like the god of men, because Deus was also God. So the god men, and so that's how they had the knowledge. And so the D moon was also, according to Bach Saga, is just when the moon is half and makes the shape of a D. That was the D moon. So there's lots of ways to get kind of use language to get those ideas. So it's fun. I love doing that shit.
And what's beautiful, I'm going to read a quick quote from the from the definitions.
Definition.
Yeah, deaf as in you can't hear. Phonetian, which has the oldest, some of the oldest written alphabet, which is 22 letters, which equals 1111. He says one who stops at the status quo's interpretation of a word, ignoring etymology and phonics. So the Phoenicians is where you get the word phone, phonetics, you know, phonics, all that.
Mm-hmm.
The Phoenicians architected the whole way that we make noises with our mouths. You know.
Yeah, that's it, dude. And then all you need is just a few years of getting that into control, and then how we even just interact and move our mouths is completely controlled. Wow. Interesting. Oh goodness. Yeah, the Phoenicians, the phony ones. The phony baloney.
Also the phoenixes.
Also the phoenixes, the transmuted ones, the shining ones.
Mm-hmm. The
I don't know.
rising from the ashes, the tribe of Dan, the Duat, the people of the underworld, the werewolves,
the lycanthropes. Oh goodness. I'm going to share one more article here. This is a cool old artifact. Let's see here. Where are we at? You guys may have heard of this. It's called the Harvester Vase. It's just a good old.
There's your bin.
Yeah, this one came in. Look at it. Straight torpedo.
Your thimble is right there on the fucking vase.
Small but powerful. Found at Hyga Triada, which I think is known as the Holy Trinity. An elite site associated with Minoan palaces and dating from the Neo-Palatial period, 16 to 1514, 50 BCE. The Harvester Vase displays a detailed and fascinating scene of men marching and singing in what appears to be a harvest celebration. Although it is not a grand artistic monument, this small vessel, only about 4.5 inches in diameter, it's actually pretty damn small, communicates a grace and vitality typical of Aegean Bronze Age art. And I think it's made, ostrich egg rhyton from the Tholos tomb in Greece, the Mycenaean from 15th to 14th century BCE. Ostrich egg, silver and gold, copper, which is pretty cool. Imitating
Omphalos.
Yeah, right.
That's umbilical cord.
Yeah, I was like, you get Mad Omphalos vibes.
The navel.
The snake and the egg there. I mean, they would use it for rituals, for pouring liquids, and use it as like a ceremonial mug. Here we go. The Harvester Vase is not actually a vase, but rather a rhyton, a ritual vessel used for pouring liquids. It has a hole on the top and would have a hole at the bottom before it was damaged. It is made of black steatite and is shaped to look like a similar vessel made of even more valuable material, an ostrich eggshell. Ostrich egg rhyta were some of the most luxurious and exotic ritual goods of the Aegean Bronze Age. This type of object was made by drilling holes at either end of an ostrich egg, imported from Egypt, drawing out the contents and affixing a decorative rim at the top and the bottom. However, what the Harvester Vase lacks is imported luxury. It makes up for in sheer sculptural power. Ooh. A rhythmic procession. The miniature scene carved in relief illustrates some 27 men in a procession. Most of these men are depicted in
27.
pairs. 27. Most of these men are depicted in pairs, legs stepping high and right arms bent at the elbow, hands held close to the chest, wearing identical costumes. loincloths, flat caps, carrying bags or pads on the left thigh, and on the left shoulder a pole with a short curved blade and a three-pronged fork. These men are all young, slim, and muscular, with angular faces turned up to the sky. Their paired lockstep procession evokes marching or rhythmic movement. There is one exception to this rhythm. Near the back of the group, one man turns to look behind him, perhaps because it would appear another has just fallen at his back. The marching group is led by an apparently older man, wearing a long, shaggy hair and a fringed robe with a scallop pattern. He carries a long staff, crooked at the bottom and tapering at the top. In the middle of the group of men behind is another single figure, a man who looks perhaps not as young and lean as those in the group, but who is shaking a sistrum, a musical instrument used in religious rituals. These were common in ancient Egypt as well as in ancient Greece, Rome. Examples have been found on Bronze Age Crete as well. This man appears to be shouting or singing with his mouth. See here? Oh, looks like a little light bulb. This man appears to be shouting or singing with his mouth wide open as he's followed close behind by a rank of 4 men who also have wide mouths open and wear cloaks around their shoulders. Reaping or sowing. As the name of this vessel indicates, it is generally thought that its decoration refers to harvesting, the key evidence being the long implement each of the younger men is carrying over his shoulder. What is not clear is exactly what the implement is. If it's a winnowing fork, these men are harvesting, collecting mature cereal crops, and they will use the fork to separate the grain from its husk. If the implement is a hoe, festooned with branches, and then the men are off to plant seeds, perhaps to be found in each of the men's bags, which it is harvesting or planting. We may never know, but what is clear is the masculine communal celebratory nature of the activity depicted on this beautiful vessel. Essay by Senta Germain. Whoa, Saint Germain, huh? Okay. All right. Yeah.
Interesting.
Just, I like, we are here looking at old stuff. There's all these old artifacts that they decide to show us. They're like, oh, we can show them this one. And then we'll give it to ancient aliens to say that it was in fact a homunculus bursting egg cage where they would put an alchemical fluid in there and then sit on it. The queen would sit on it inside. Those big dresses that they had? They're hiding shit up those dresses. Like little midgets, little Oompa Loompas in there and like warming up these ostrich eggs as she walks. They got to take cycles and they're like running. They're just like, oh, one guy trips, and then you're just like, oh. Yeah.
It's definitely the interesting story there. I like to look closer at the faces on there because that's from Egypt, right?
That was from Greece.
Oh, that was Greek. Okay.
Mm-hmm. No, sorry, Hagia Traida, the Holy Trinity in the Museum of Heraklion. Sorry, terrible. Yeah, it's I actually did try to look up the location earlier, and all I got was a bunch of philosophical text and talks.
Hey, what's up, Jason? Shout out. By the way, I sent the smoke signals in the wolf call. We have wolves and Ronins that are totally into this.
Oh, awesome. Welcome, y'all. Thank you, wolves and Ronins. Appreciate you massively. Feel free to jump on. The link's there if anybody wants to jump on. We're at 2 hours and something minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah.
We'll go for I think 3 hours is a safe place to cut it. Try to harvest some of this daylight here and go try to bleach my toes. My toenails.
Yo, Rome. Hey, Gator. I just want to call you Gator from now on.
Please do.
Don't give him that shit.
Please do. Yes.
Let's embrace the frat boy energy. Gator.
Gator.
Man, yesterday you inspired me because this was a full moon in Pisces. I went out into the water.
Nice.
And,
you went paddleboarding, right?
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
man. That was one of the greatest investments I ever made, dude. I just go paddleboarding.
Yep.
Dude, I can like
go on the water.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, I could almost take a nap on that thing sometimes. But yo, yeah, Pisces in water. The great tide of truth is coming. The waters of life are coming, man. Straight up.
Mm.
Play some
Enter the
guitar.
flow.
The flow. Don't battle the current. It's a losing battle. Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. Wow. No, but for real, absolutely. And with all these, see that the big talk is retrogrades, and you know, celestial sky clock happenings and retrogrades. And the thing is a lot of people talk about how scary retrogrades are, and so on and so forth. But you also hear that if you're just ringing as true as you can and literally taking the time to be with yourself and to take time to truly ingest what's happening in each moment and breathe and just try to emanate as much love as possible, then the spirit of the universe will do nothing but absolutely have your back. And you don't look at situations like it's like, why is this happening to me? But maybe look at it like, this is happening to me. Fuck yes, dude. I'm down. I am down because there's nothing that you can throw at me, okay, and that will get me down. Except maybe, but I'm not even, so you don't even want to
Yeah.
manifest the things.
No, you don't want
even
to. You don't want to cast those spells. Let me drop some gnosis on some people that I got recently, and it's
Let's
been
get it.
life changing. When it, I need sound. I need that. Sorry, I'm a little. Yeah. I mentally prepared for the show. Anyway, um, if you believe in, oh gosh, if you believe in assimilation, if you believe in things are calculated, you want to change up your routine, because if you constantly if you're in a loop, the resources will not be moved and allocated towards you, because they already have accounted for you to
Yes.
go to the same gas station, the same coffee shop, the same place for lunch, the same place for work, etc., etc. If you start doing spontaneous changes to your routine, the code will start to go, oh wait, what are they doing? Why are they changing? Okay, I need to allocate more resources to them.
Mm.
What's going on dynamically.
Mm.
And so I highly recommend everyone change up their routine and do different, and
Yes.
just embrace the change. Do not try to hold on to the old. That's that going against the flow we were just talking about. You're trying to hold on to the old, you're done. No, embrace
right.
the change and change up and be spontaneous. And I'm telling you, the manifestations, it's you guys know, it's just like, wow, oh my gosh, it is wild, man. It's real, dude.
Ooh. Wow, yeah, that's some juicy goodness right there. Dan, you got to embrace the change. We're getting out of California. Dan and I are both leaving California, and we're open. We're coming that way. We're coming towards where everybody else is, because California is a desolate wasteland of, no, it's beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. But we're just trying to
It's
go
gorgeous
that
out here.
way. Trying to go that way. More that way with water.
Dude, you're Roman. Start Roman.
Roman
And
Gator.
Ronan, let's go, baby. Let's go. We're gonna go backpacking through the Appalachians. You down?
What you
Absolutely,
showing
that's
here
my
on
backyard.
The screen?
What's that?
What you showing here on the screen?
This is does it have a caption? Labyrinths and crop circles. Crop circles are linked to labyrinths. All right.
All right, let me ask you, why are so many I've asked my friends across the pond, why are crop circles mostly only in America, dude?
They're not.
I thought they were in England.
They're all over the world. Yeah, no, there's a lot of the original crop circles, I think, happened in England, around those heavy magnetic areas of like southern England. Stonehenge and everything. Yeah, We haven't done a crop circle deep dive in a while, but we did do some crop circle episode like in our very early days and ages. We got to do an entire month of that, and we might try to incorporate that. So after Ancient Egypt month and Sumer month, now we're going to be going into paranormal and energy. So I mean, that's fucking what a crop circle is, right? But that being said, brother, there are a lot of crop circles in America, absolutely, and I think the main reason with crop circles is they come from the ground as opposed to getting shot from some sort of ship, because the consistency that they find within crop circles is the superseed, which is when the crop itself actually gets hit with some sort of special energy, magnetic energy, and that the plants themselves have seeds in them that are significantly stronger, and even sometimes have there's just like a slight alteration to them that just makes them a beefier strain. So it's a gift, because if you're farming, you're going to be, if you're a true farmer and the reason that you're farming is to farm because there's just something in you that needs to do the thing that makes food, moves around soil, the urge within your fucking body to get out and do that, because farmers are not like they're have a bunch of money and they get to just go out and live the nightlife every night. They're hardworking and they have a very real purpose and a passion. And so I feel like it's a gift because we live within the consciousness of the earth. We live within the body, and they're doing the real work that needs to happen by maneuvering the landscapes. These things that we're doing now on because people are like, we live in a matrix. It's a simulation. Yes, the society is a simulation. Society is the simulation. We do live in the simulation because we live within the society. Absolutely. No doubt. But the cosmic simulation that is the real reality of what the fuck is going on in actuality outside of the man-made system is that we could communicate with the earth and be gifted super seeds if we just do the fucking work for the earth and not for the money. And then guess what? You have more food. When our greenhouse flowered out last year and it seeded out, the entire greenhouse or crop seeded out. And for cannabis, that's not the best. For some reason, people don't want a bunch of seeds in their stuff. You know what I mean? But on the other end of that is we got thousands of fucking seeds. You know how many cuts? I could take 500 clones off of one of my plants outside and make 500 other baby plants. That's a simulation. Like
they're sentient beings. What I love about your videos on Telegram, you give the flowers love. You voice your love to them, and I believe that has effects on their the end goal. I mean, I'm sure most of you guys are aware of that one study where like they studied basically plants are sentient beings. They can communicate, and you guys are familiar with that one? I think
the Japanese doctor that did the water.
Japanese.
Morimoto?
Yeah, if you could say any Japanese name right now, I'd be like, totally.
Yep, that's it.
That's the one.
So let's see. I haven't looked at the chats in a while. Has anybody got any fun stuff? What do you guys got going on? What are you guys enjoying this? I'm stopped screen sharing so I can go back here. And the plants are damaged from the crop circle? Uh-oh.
Yeah, is that a problem?
Emoto. Nice.
Is damaging crops via crop circle, does that hurt the love?
I mean, yeah, so the stuff that I was reading on crop circles was that it was, it's laid down and it's like weaved in a special way that's not necessarily hurting the crops. But we should read this article real quick just to see what this connection between labyrinths and crop circles is, because pulls into the whole kind of concept of the energies fields that we've been talking about, and coral castle and things like that, magnetic places on Earth. So this crop circle should be placed so that the labyrinth is coming out at 10 and 12 o'clock. Then it looks like a radio beacon, which is being directed towards the heavens. The first thing you will notice is that the three circles of man at the heart of this crop circle symbol. However, the center circle, which represents the hidden God within man, is now a universal energy circle. This has now been the goal of Earth man since the beginning of his genesis on Earth. Since the Garden of Eden, this has been that which has been the goal of Earth, man and woman. This crop circle represents an awakened man who is sending and receiving the universal language of light through divine love. The man or woman who uses this symbol to represent themselves is a man or woman who has achieved the upward spiral and touched the face of God. This crop circle tells us that we are ever connected to the golden web through which we can send out our signals to reach the information which we need for completion of ourselves. This is the library card, which allows us to retrieve that which we need from the golden web. The golden web is supported and devoted to you personally. We are all interconnected through this golden web and universal signals which escape out to that golden web through this crop circle, which are one of your master tools. All that has ever been or that will ever be and reachable through this crop circle symbol, the realm of spirit, will answer all requests through this design. You are a broadcaster of the illuminated truth, a marvelous shining strand awaiting your answer from spirit. It is the wonder of the golden web that has been the quest of all those who have journeyed on the circular borders of Earth. That's gonna steer people off there. Some have accomplished the spirit connection and most have not. The Einsteins and Michelangelos have reached out this golden web for the answer from spirit, which would allow their talents to shine. Their vision on their expertise has always been answered from the spirit realm. They have been given star status on the planet Earth because not all Earthmen and women have realized that they have this capacity as well. If you are a writer, artist, like many of us here on Earth who are trying to develop a talent to its full potential, this is the crop circle symbol, which you should use to fully activate and receive talent from spirit. Send out your need and answer will always come. It is up to you to make your spirit receiver ready in order to interpret the answer. This crop circle symbol will ready the spirit receiver within you and make that realizer's responsive universe ready to respond to your needs. As we advance towards the 21st century, we are ready to make the hidden God within us sender and receiver of all our signals. The universe is ready to receive our signal just as soon as we can speak the language of light, which is sent from a point of mastery over the three-dimensional world of duality. Borders of all that we are. You and I must become masters of this earth world. Let each of us send out our signal of oneness and watch the universe respond. From the Language of Light website. Wow.
Oneness.
That's it.
Universe, the one verse.
Mm-hmm.
And a verse is what? It's a song. Right? It's a verse in a song. Just, that resonance, that harmony that we're talking about. And I get it. I dig it, man. Like the labyrinths are about harmony. They put them in cathedrals and in very special sacred places that were built with sacred geometry in mind. Mnemonics, mnemonics. What is it? M-N-E-M. Yeah. So mnemonics are a device such as a pattern of letters, ideas, or associations that assist in remembering something. So Frances Yates wrote an incredible book in the 70s called The Art of Memory. And she made this revivalist movement, with her literature that was, telling us that our ancient ancestors were using sacred geometry to not only, they weren't just building these things for no reason. There was literally a sacred belief behind it that it encapsulated the celestial energies and the energy of the consciousness of Earth. And through that, they were able to tap into that. It's like that classic painting or that picture of the man, secret teachings of all ages, where the man is poking through, the void there, which looks like the firmament, right? It's like that is just the veil of geometry and shape. And so, yeah, the oneness, man, the universe, the one song, God. Sorry, okay.
That's why Pan plays the flute.
Oh, I could see Pan strolling around the labyrinth. Is there any Pan's labyrinth? Jesus, wow. All right. Forgot about that.
Well, if you notice, they turn what do you guys think about they transmute like mazes and labyrinths into not cool. Like let's be real, there is a group that wants to transmute this beautiful gnosis that was just shared and other things. They want to like hijack it and use it for darkness. I will never allow them to do that with me. I'm one person, but I'm also oneness. We are all one in Lakesh. I am one, you are one, we are one. Experiencing this in a individual fractal experience. And we are so powerful. My message all the time, my friends, is unlock your greatness. We are so flippin' powerful. So they can't stop us, man. I mean, that's always been my message.
Ain't stopping us. No way, no how.
So keep your vibes high, man. Anytime I get
high.
caught, keep them expand. And what's funny, Dan? I'm changing my wards. Instead of words, I'm using wards nowadays, and I'm instead of saying high vibe, high freak, I'm saying expanded vibe and expanded freak, like the Taurus field.
Yes, dude.
These spells that I cast, I want to ripple. I want to ripple, and dude, it's wild. And some people might be listening to this and be like, y'all are weird, but yeah, we're weird.
Yes.
I'll splash a daggone river. I loved watching a video a while ago where like you just splash a river and watch the ripples and how they interact.
Yes.
Something as basic as that is so profound, and I'll sit and just soak that in and contemplate it for a long time. I'm still contemplating it now.
Think about that same concept, but like instead of like water, it's the water of like the atmosphere. So like the ripple effect works on the water that we can see. What about the shit we can't see?
Yeah, the ether, dude.
Like the ripple waves in that I think affect us, bro. So bouncing back, like using the bubble boy, thing where you're just like kind of walking around, waxing on and waxing off your aura, just like, hold up, wait, hold on. Okay, all right, we're good to go. Okay, aha, you know what I'm saying? Just keeping your force field going. We can get little magnet gloves in our hands, huh? With gold tips on them.
Brother, we are magnets, bro. I'm telling you,
we have magnetites.
We are attracting. We're attracting each other. Those that are of the similar vibe, sound, freak, whatever you want to call it, we are literally attracting because we are expanding our consciousness. Many are trying to not do that. So. And we are the gap. I don't know if you guys recognize this. I'm sure you do. A few years ago, you can deal with people with their hangups. They got some hangups. You can deal with them. But now that those little hangups have become like a Grand Canyon, like the separation is become so like self-evident. It's like, wow, we are on so different levels of we're playing different chords, we're playing different freaks, we're on also and that's why I talk about uniting the tribes, unlocking our greatness, and we are powerful beings, because we're a minority too. And I think that also I've heard someone break it down where it's like when they talk about old souls, like you're an old soul, it might be our time, because we have been here for a while, to where it's like we may not need to we may need to transcend. And when you freak when you're a real freak and you start freaking at such a high level, you can literally become invisible to some of a low freak. Like you can almost become invisible. And a lot of that, some of those other beings that maybe people channel or you embrace, they might just be high frequency beings that are just with gnosis and knowledge to where they're just invisible because they're freaking at a higher level. And that might be us now because we are quote unquote old souls and we've now transcended. You know, we don't need to go get recycled back in. Perhaps is what I'm kind of saying.
You think we'll be let through? All right, I can dig that.
So. I think so, bro. You want the escape plan? Follow that maze. I don't know. Don't get stuck in the maze. Don't even play the game, man. That's over that whole. I hate to use Hollywood stuff, but like, the thing is, can you bend the spoon, or how about there is no spoon kind of deal? You know what I mean? With Matrix, it's like don't even play.
The Matrix itself encapsulates like what we're looking at here with the labyrinth, right? You're kind of like in a matrix of sorts, but this also looks kind of like a brain, like obviously not exactly like a brain, but they even say it right here, the 7 folds, and it's like that's what they call these folds in the brain, and there's all the symbolism with the 2 pillars, and then the third the capstone of the pillars, the archway, the keystone, and that being the third eye and like the central of it. So, there's another kind of story with the labyrinths or the Matrix or whatever you want to call it. In the Matrix, they got the one, right? Like Neo, he's the one. We were just talking about the uni and being able to like go. Everybody puts your energy into the one, and then that's who like fights all the motherfuckers. Sorry, terrible. My little hillbilly like self was coming out there. Anyways,
inner gator.
my inner gator was really coming out there. I saw someone grab me so anyways,
shout out to my brother Decode. I mean, we what we do is we try and decode this. There's a code. There's a Fibonacci sequence. There's so many. This is not just random nonsense that we live in. There's literally a code. You can test it yourself. Fibonacci sequence, etc. Shout out to my boy Decode. What we do is try and decode this reality, dude. It's wild. And once you see that, yes, it operates in polarity and duality. That is how this realm operates. But when you recognize that, you don't have to also be caught up in the duality yourself. You can transcend. Man. That's what's going on, dude.
Yes. Yeah, I'm absolutely down with that, dude. And I think breathing helps. Breathing fully helps. Breathing into your belly, breathing into your chest, breathing into your throat, just breathing into your back, and then moving all the time. Just keep moving, And then when you're relaxing,
move.
Just move, move, dude.
You ain't moving right now. If you ain't listening to this and moving, you wow. Like, what's funny about the 7, and we talking metals and things earlier, is like even that samurai sword. The reason why it's so great is they can only fold it 7 times. They can fold the metal 7 times.
Oh,
and it bends and doesn't break. It bends and doesn't break.
The Damascus folds.
That's the most they could do it. So that's just another addition.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, dude. 7s. And then what? So it's interesting. Okay, so you got a 7-fold. Like we're talking 7 notes in music. But what was the 5? You add the 5. And
to the 7.
That is the shape of a man almost, actually. If you look at this right here, like a winged being. Like this is like the head. These are the wings. And it's like, Shaw. Like if you're laying down right there, like right in here, and that's like your aura. Oh, okay, all right. Who knows?
Yeah, it's like the Da Vinci. I bet if you put a Da Vinci thing where you got the guy with his legs open and his arms up, I mean, there's a perfect circle.
The Vitruvian man.
Ratio.
Yeah. Yo. Yeah. Oh, you got the Oh, shit. Gnarly, dude. Nice. I didn't even think of that. It's fucking. Yeah, I mean, look, this could be the head, and it's a flower. It's not a
That's
rose.
6-sided.
But
So
1, 2,
it's
3, 4, 5,
could be the
6.
hexes.
Oh.
And you guys know, like,
Labyrinth.
666 is actually a beautiful number. It's even in science, it's 6. It's matter. It's carbon.
Carbon.
Um,
Yeah.
What's going on over here?
I don't know what the fuck is that.
It's got the Minotaur here.
Grabbing
But
it
look
by
at
the
this.
horn.
Yeah, he's got the Minotaur by the horn. The Minotaur was apparently trapped inside, and he's trapped in the labyrinth.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
And he tries and.
Go ahead.
And guys, as you travel this labyrinth, as you travel this labyrinth, you're going to have obstacles. Obstacles are the way.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
means you're going the right way.
If you're going the right way,
means you're doing. If you're running into obstacles, Oh,
that looks like a thumbprint, dude. Romie, look at, dude. Does that look like a thumb? I mean, I know it's not exactly a thumbprint, but you know what I mean.
Fingerprints of the gods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. Ooh. Oh, here we go. They're talking about the 7 here. The classical 7-ring labyrinth. Note the correspondences with the 7 chakras, the 7 colors, the 7 musical notes. The sequential order of the path is 3, 2, 1, 4, 7, 6, 5, 8. As a unicursal, one way in and one way out path, a labyrinth is showing the teachings of centeredness that differentiates a labyrinth from a maze, which has many paths and dead ends leading to confusion. Like life and destiny, a labyrinth may be a long journey, but it has a specific beginning and a definite end. Like mandalas, a labyrinth offers holistic route, meandering radius. From the periphery to the center, a labyrinth imprints a royal groove, a ceremonial pathway designed accordance to principles such as harmonic proportion and alternates of energy. For instance, the clockwise, sunwise, counterclockwise, moonwise spins of the meanders map out of balance of the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. Oh, and like we were talking earlier too with the chakras, if you only got one, you're gonna be tripping. A labyrinth, if you're not balanced out.
Yeah, and by the way, the chakras, as you go up the chakras, like the root chakra, and you go to the second chakra, it will envelop the one below it. So as you climb that chakra, it will, like, I don't know if that's the proper word, but you know what I mean. It'll surpass.
And that's kind of why. Too, I think, like up here when you're like looking at the cathedrals, that's like a little egg right there. And they have the windows that have all these colors mixed in them, so it's almost like the ultraviolet is the eye of the window or of the building, because these cathedrals have a lot of these labyrinths, and seeing it laid out like this is really interesting. This is like going through all these processes at the cathedrals back in the day were aligning the chakras, because they had the basilicas in there. They were chanting, they were around people resonating. And yeah, really, wow. The labyrinths, man, trip out. Musical patterns of the labyrinth. Okay, I can't read that sheet music, unfortunately. There you go. Well, there's an alien story I wanted to read before we sign off. Who's down with the alien stories? All right, we're going. Anyways, okay. Trinidad Island Photographs by Jerry Clark. Trinidad, a small rocky island in the middle of South Atlantic Ocean, 600 miles off the coast of Bahia, Brazil, was the site of the most impressive photographic cases in UFO history. In October 1957, Brazilian Navy set up a small scientific base unoccupied on the unoccupied island, where the oceanographic and the meteorological research would be conducted in connection with the International Geophysical Year. Starting early next month, instrument-bearing weather balloons were launched daily. They were designed to explode in the upper atmosphere, releasing the instrument packages, which would parachute to Earth to be retrieved by researchers. By the end of the month, base personnel were reporting silvery UFOs, which seemed to be monitoring the balloon's movements. On January 1, 1958, at 7:50 a.m., the passage of a bright point of light, like a mirror reflecting sunlight, was observed by the entire garrison. The next evening, a round object with an orange glow circled the Navy tow ship, Triunfal, traveling off the Bahian coast 400 miles of Trinidad. As the crew watched, the UFO executed sudden right-angled turns and at other times hovered near the ship. The sighting lasted for 10 minutes. The most fantastic event occurred on the 6th. The base's chief officer, Commander Carlos A. Batcheller, had just overseen the launching of a weather balloon into a morning sky, clear of everything but a single large cumulus cloud at 14,000 feet. Inside the radio cabin, Batcheller listened to the signals the balloon emitted as it ascended. Suddenly, those signals inexplicably diminished. They went dead. When Batcheller went outside to investigate, he saw nothing out of the ordinary, at least at first. The balloon was ascending normally until it came directly below the cloud, at which point it seemed to be sucked abruptly upward. For the next 10 minutes, it remained out of sight and inside the cloud. Finally, when it reappeared as above, it was above the cloud and devoid of the instrument package. Soon, a silvery object emerged from behind the cloud. As it moved slowly from the southwest to the east, a technician gazing through the theodolite spotted it and alerted the commander, who viewed it briefly from the binoculars, then through a sextant. Crescent-shaped and bright white in color, the object reversed course at one point and remained in sight for some time before it entered a cloud bank. That was written in 1960. The photographs later at 12:15 p.m. as the Almirante Sadana sat anchored off the south coast of Trinidad and prepared for a return trip to Rio de Janeiro. 48 crew members and passengers spotted an object approaching the island. Among the witnesses of Almiro Barawana, a civilian who had been brought along because of the skill in underwater photography, Barawana gave his account to João Martins of the magazine. I had my Rolleiflex 2.8 Model E, which was kept inside an aluminum box for protection against the corrosive effects of water and salt. I had left my Leica, a telephoto lens, in my cabinet for a few minutes before. The deck was full of sailors and officers. Suddenly, Mr. Emilio Vieira and retired Air Force Captain Joe Teobaldo Viegas called me, pointing to a certain spot in the sky and yelling about a bright object which was approaching the island. At the same moment, when I was still trying to see what it was, Lieutenant Humero, the ship's dentist, came to the bow of the boat toward us, running, pointing to the sky, and also yelling about an object he was sighting. So he was so disturbed and excited that he almost fell down after colliding with a cable. Then I was finally able to locate the object by the flash it emitted. It was already close to the island. It glittered at certain moments, perhaps reflecting the sunlight, perhaps changing its own light. I don't know. It was coming over the sea, moving toward the point called the Gallo Crest. I had lost 30 seconds looking for the object, but the camera was already in my hands, ready, when I sighted it clearly silhouetted against the clouds. I shot 2 photos before it disappeared behind the Desejado Peak. My camera was at least set at speed of 125 with the aperture at f8. And this was the cause of an overexposure error, as I discovered later. The object remained out of sight for a few seconds behind the peak, reappearing bigger in size and flying in the opposite direction, but lower and closer than before, and moving at a higher speed. I shot the 3rd photo, and the 4th and 5th ones were lost, not only because of the speed of the saucer was moving, but also for another reason. In the confusion produced as a result of the sighting, I was being pulled and pushed by other persons also trying to spot the object. As a consequence, photographed the sea and island only, not the object. It was again moving toward the sea in the direction at which it had come, and it appeared to stop in midair for a brief time. And at that moment, I shot my last photo, the last on the film. After about 10 seconds, the object continued to increase its distance from the ship, gradually diminishing in size and finally disappearing into the horizon. The object was gray, metallic, and solid looking. Though surrounded by a greenish haze or mist with a ring running through its midsection, it resembled a flattened version of the planet Saturn. Badly shaken by the experience, Barana removed the film from the camera almost immediately and delayed processing it for an hour. Finally, he and Captain Villegas entered the ship's darkroom together, while Commander Bacheller, who had not been on the deck when the sighting occurred, waited outside the door. 10 minutes later, Barwana showed the wet negatives to Bacheller. There was no photographic paper available, and said that it looked as if the UFO's image had not been picked up. The commander examined the negatives carefully and spotted the image. Subsequently, the other witnesses stated that the object in the photographs was the one they observed. Aftermath. Barona took the negatives with him to Rio and processed them in his own laboratory. Shortly afterwards, Bacheller showed up at Barana's home to look at the developed photographs, which he took with the Navy Ministry. 2 days later, he returned them. And shortly thereafter, Barana was summoned to naval headquarters where the high-ranking officers grilled him. The ministry sent his negatives to Cruzeiro de Sol Aerofotogrammetric Service for analysis. They were declared genuine. In short order, Brazil's president, Juscelino Kubitschek, ordered them to release to the press. In the days ahead, some of the witnesses gave interviews to the papers. On the 22nd, Commander Paulo Minerva da Silva, the Brazilian's Navy Hydrography and Navigation Service, stated that the object was not a meteorological balloon, for the one that they had launched that day was released at 9 a.m., 2 hours before the appearance of the object in the sky. Also, it was not a guided missile from the United States because the island of Trinidad is off the route of those rockets. Olavo de Fontes, a well-connected Rio physician who has represented the Tuscan-based Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, learned of the incident from naval informants on February 4th, on the evening of the 14th at the Navy Ministry. He was shown flying photographs. He did not know that the fifth had been taken earlier than the first hour, Barana's first four. And to this day, little is known about this picture. Fontes believes it was taken by a Navy surgeon in late December on the Desejado Peak of the island. Okay, so it's a different photo. Okay. A naval source later told Fontes that the day before Barana took his pictures, the Almirante Saldanha's radar had tracked an unknown object at 2:30 a.m. on the 16th, less than 10 hours before the Barana sighting. Izio Azevedo Fundao, chief of surgery at Rio Hospital, and the members of his family saw a Saturn-shaped UFO off the coast of Brazil in the direction of Trinidad. At approximately the same time, or an identical object was observed from the deck of the Tridente, a Navy tow ship. On February 23rd, Paulo Campos, a reporter for Diário Carioca, citing an unnamed but best possible source, wrote that more than the sighting of the flying saucer itself, what really made a deep impression on the Navy was a report of instruments like radio transmitters and apparatuses with magnetic needles seized operating while the flying object remained in the island's proximity. The Navy decided to consider this a top secret fact. When he checked with his own sources, Fontes could get neither confirmation nor denial of this alleged aspect of the event. In a 1983, Barwana recalled that just prior to the UFO's appearance, all of the electrical power on the ship had failed. After Brazil's House of Representatives demanded further information from the Navy, it was given a secret report of the official investigation. A document was leaked in October 1964 to Coro Lorenzon, director of APRO. After reviewing the various sightings on January 16th photographs, its author, Corvette Captain Joseph Geraldo Barandeo, concluded that the existence of personal reports of the photographic evidence of certain value considering the circumstance involved, absence of the evidence of tampering, the presence of otherwise witnesses, permit the admission that there are indications of the existence of the unidentified aerial objects. He also noted that the strong emotional upset in all persons who sighted the object, including the photographer, civilians, and members of the ship's crew. Oh, God, there's more. Okay, it's actually, is it almost done? Yeah, it's almost done. Okay, guys, just bear with me. They're going to see if it's a hoax or not, and we have to know. On November 27th, 1959, Donald H. Menzel, a Harvard University astronomer and UFO debunker, what a great guy, wrote Richard Hall of the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena to report this tentative conclusion concerning the object of the Trinidad photograph. I have in my possession one well-authenticated case of Saturn-like object, whose nature is known and clearly distinguishable in this particular instance. A plane, flying in a humid but apparently supercooled atmosphere, became completely enveloped in fog. So about all one could see was a division where the streamlines were flowing up and down respectively over and under the wings. The cabin made a Saturn-like spot in the center, and the wings closely resembled the appearance of the Brazilian photographs. The Trinidad object's speed and sprightly maneuvers were explainable, Menzel claimed, as an illusion created by the reflection of sunlight on the plane. But 4 years later, in the world of flying saucers, Menzel publicly declared the case a hoax, charging that Barana had faked the photographs via double exposure in collusion with the associate Menzel and Boyd in 1963. He wrote, without mentioning newspaper articles and official reports to the contrary, that when reporters had a chance to interview the officers and crewmen who allegedly had observed the Trinidad saucer and could report Barana's story, one of them had actually seen the object. In fact, 1959, Hall had provided Menzel with a translation of a March 8, 1958 O Cruzeiro article, which names several of the witnesses. Menzel reprints a Brazilian Navy press release, but when the original Menzel's version are compared, some significant discrepancies become apparent. In the latter, 3 words are added, 6 left out. The original reads, evidently this ministry cannot make any statement about the object sighted over the island of Trinidad, for the photographs do not constitute enough evidence for such a purpose. Menzel renders it thus. Clearly, this ministry cannot make any statement about the reality of the object, for the photos do not constitute enough evidence for such a purpose, whereas the first statement acknowledges an object and a sighting, and the second implies that there's reality open to question. Menzel's attack continues in his next book, The UFO Enigma, wherein those citing no source, he outlines the extremely simple method that he claimed was used to fake the photographs. In the privacy of his home, Menzel writes, a photographer had snapped a series of pictures of a modeled UFO against a black background, then reloaded the camera with the same film and took pictures of the scenery in ordinary fashion. When the film was developed, there was a saucer hanging in the sky. Menzel seems to have woven this story out of a whole cloth. He also repeats that the unfounded allegation that no one else except a friend and presumed accomplice had seen the disc flying overhead, Menzel and Taviz. Though the U.S. Navy which had expressed interest in the case of its time of occurrence, refused public comment. In 1963, letter Major Carl R. Hart of the U.S. Air Force Project Blue Book quoted from an Office of Naval Intelligence report. This gentleman, Barwana, has a long history of photographic trick shots. Here we go. He prepared a purposely humorous article published in a magazine entitled A Flying Saucer Hunted Me at Home, using trick photography. It should be noted that the article was a debunking piece intended to show how a much publicized 1952 Brazilian flying saucer photograph was created. In 1978, an Arizona-based group, Ground Saucer Watch, which specialized in analyzing an analysis of reported UFO photographs, which had rejected most as phony, subjected good quality prints to a computer which processing technique focusing on edge enhancement. The UFO image is over 50 feet in diameter. What? The UFO image is in each case reveals a vast distance from the photographer and the camera. The photographs show no signs of a hoax, i.e., a hand thrown or suspended model. The UFO image is reflecting light and passed all computer tests for an image with substance. The image represents no type of aircraft or experimental balloon. The digital densometry that densitometry reveals a metallic reflection where the unanimous opinion of the Brazilian photos are authentic and represent extraordinary flying of object of unknown origin. Given the number of witnesses, the results of photo analysis, both military and civilian, and the need for debunkers to reinvent the incident to explain it, it seems most unlikely that the Trinidad photographs were hoaxed. Nice! Man!
So what was the point of that whole fucking hour?
Is that these photos were not a hoax and there were flying saucers.
What photos? Is there photos of the article?
That's what we need, man. Yeah, I know. Terrible. I'm sorry, guys.
They don't even show the photos.
Wow.
I'm
Okay,
just
let me
talking
try
about
some
some UFO bullshit that we've all probably heard 50 million times.
I mean, it seemed pretty here we go.
Boring is. I think we lost our whole audience on that one.
Did you? You guys got to tell me.
Even Bird Dog left. He was like, "This is fucking old shit, man."
Oh, terrible.
Oh, there's
My bad.
photo. There we go.
Oh,
That's it
tell
right
me
there.
people are dropping out.
I'm not actually looking. I'm just throwing shade.
Oh, you're throwing shade, you zombie.
Yeah.
There's a few things in the sky.
Those are like, I don't know what the fuck those are.
I mean, yeah, who knows? Who knows, honestly. Oh, shit, where's the screen thing? Oh, no. It went away. There we go. Okay, sweet.
So what's your take on that
aliens exist.
whole fucking thing?
I didn't realize it was that long before I fucking started getting into it, honestly. Like, and it was just so wordy. But I mean, I don't know. I think if you're observing the atmosphere long enough, you're gonna see things in the sky. So people that are out there actually literally putting weather balloons into the sky, especially at this time period in the 1950s, when a lot of these things were going around, when the space race was happening, right, between the countries and everything. That's when this was. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, legit, probably something absolute, and they kept bringing up the mirror-like surface, just reflective, and magnetic stuff. So, that cloud beam that we were looking at earlier could be a spaceship. The black cube could be a spaceship. What happens when you put the cube and the globe together? You get a Merkabah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see you done dropped out on us, Bird Dog. Now you want to come back. Oh, I see how it is. Okay. I'm just kidding. Much love, brother. How are you doing, sir? Oh, I see the comments now. Okay.
No, keep going. Keep going, man. The
The Merkabahs, baby. Well, what was it that Peter Shampoo said on that group show that one time about the Merkabah and the pyramids? Dan?
Well, if you flip a pyramid upside down, it becomes a Merkabah, or the six-pointed star.
Mm-hmm.
Star David.
Yep.
And you invert it, you get, you have you have like a diamond essentially. You invert that.
Yeah. If you pull it apart more, it becomes a big diamond. Diamonds in the sky.
Diamonds in the sky. Oh, okay. Well, okay. So we said we're capping at 3 hours. What's the final closing messages here? What's the deal, Dan? How is your heart? Tell us how your heart is.
What do you feel about the UFO thing in general? Because to me, I just feel like all this craft shit is most likely military of some sort. They're just trying to hide it. Aliens, kind of off the alien shit lately. But there's a possibility that some of them could be alien or from other places, not domestic. Maybe alien could be Russia or alien could be China too.
Yeah, well, that's
from
literally
foreign countries.
what the word means,
Interdimensional.
on a government level.
Yo,
Interdimensional,
Dan.
absolutely.
I mean, I heard Napoleon was flying around with 30,000 troops on a daggone air, like some sort of super.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
The blimps, the Zeppelins.
Yeah,
the
well, not
blimps,
blimps.
yeah.
Like he was just zipping around on
Napoleon was a
some
time
sort of
traveler.
craft. He was a time traveler. He laid his head in the Giza pyramids and was like, I'm gonna
Mhm.
transcend it. I mean,
Yep. But once
shit.
you find that pool, there's that secret pool underneath. Once you get in there and you give yourself a little swirly, you'll be out here like just popping through dimensions, like left and right.
Popping. And supposedly he was popping through dimensions, dog. Like if you if you stop at the status quo authoritarian knowledge, you're donezo. This realm is so much more complex than we've been told. It is flipping amazing.
Yes.
Everyone here is so much more powerful than we've been taught. That's why we need to unlock our greatness. When it comes
with
to
that.
aliens and ships observed, I mean, I don't know exactly, and crop circles, etc. Like, I don't know exactly. I think everything is here. I think everything's like here. I think it's, like, I think everything's here, dog. I mean, whether it's in dimensional shit, teleportation, or I think it's all here.
Yeah. So like the travel ascension, I think happens on a gaseous level or like another level. Like I think we have the ability to have correspondence and communication between these planets at different times, especially like when you're taking the electricity that is the soul or whatever and what have you, and that is what's being like, if your body's like a frequency machine, like a radio, and you're like, okay, I'm sending out this, to that frequency and what have you, when you're sleeping, you might be able to get a better, like all day you're just charging up, blah, 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 and then when you go to sleep, that's when you're able to go to these other planets. But outside,
I live 2 lives, man. Romie, I live 2 lives. When I'm asleep, I live a whole nother life. It's a whole nother experience. It's
it's the best. I love
it's
sleeping.
2 lives out here, and to my homie Deco is like, yeah, Napoleon. That you won't find this on main. If you're like going to the mainstream, forget about it. The guy laid down in a pool in Egypt, and then I hear stories of him traveling around zipping around, not inflated zeppelins, but zipping around with 30,000 people with him going boom, 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 boom. So when we hear about these other technologies, I don't know if they are aliens or interdimensional or just hidden technology. I can't tell you that for sure. But
chariots.
What, say it again, Dan?
Chariots of the gods.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're
Markabus.
sitting here. Yeah, man. I mean, if you don't think I can telepathically talk to Dan and Romie, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I can literally send them messages, and guess what? They'll probably text me like 5 minutes later. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just how it works. It's not If you believe in coincidence, if you're a worshiper of coincidence, there is no coincidence. This is built into this realm. This is complex. It's beautiful. And go ahead, Roman. I see you. Go ahead, dog.
Oh no, we're good, baby.
Yeah.
He's just moving.
I know, right?
Circling my hips. I've been standing this whole time.
No, y'all should stand. You should raise your laptop. You should lift up your arms right now. Move around. Circle those ripples out there, dog.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, man. Who knows what these things are? Our good buddy Raven though has had experiences with so-called aliens, interdimensional beings of light. I don't think he really uses the word aliens when he talks about them, but you know, you can't discount other people's stories from having these encounters or seeing things in the sky. So you know, obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on that we're not aware of, and it's hard to say like it doesn't exist or it does exist. So possibly things are in the mind, possibly things are in physical form. You know, who hard to say. That's why we do the show, why we talk about these things to try to bring it more forward to the surface so we can understand it. And with that, homie's having a rave by himself.
I got the farm
Yeah.
solo, baby.
He's got those gator dance moves down.
Yeah. Once you overstand and eventually you understand, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's beautiful. It's beautiful out
In
here, man.
Pakistan.
What are we doing?
Did you just say
Yeah.
Pakistan?
Yeah.
That was Jesus, man. Oh, fun. Sweet. All right, so
All right.
here's the deal. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. We're doing this every Sunday, 3 p.m. Sunday slow burns. So if you're feeling up to it, come and join the chat. Do all the things. And shit, man. I mean, until next time, much love, everybody. Thank you, Bird Dog, for hanging out, bro. Getting on and vibing out. It has been a true honor and a pleasure.
Thank you.
Peace
Wake
and
up.
harmony. Wake up. Mind over matter. I love everyone. Much love to every single person. I
Much
appreciate
love.
you. Gratitude. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, man. Oh, come on, Roman.